Hey, what's up?
Good. Got me both of them.
John. He's going to be put in the law.
It just goes on for the next one. That is his old buddy. Just like his old buddy. He's a good guy. I miss him. Miss them both, really. Thank you. He actually used to do that. That's how he got started. I used to walk around carrying his hammer. I started working when I was in the 3rd grade. And like, oh, I didn't like it, but I did it.
It's introduction. It is? Yes.
Just turn it in.
Yeah.
Stacy said you better go.
Are we doing the special meeting first?
Yeah.
Feels hot.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to start this special meeting. Mr. Vizanard is going to lead us in prayer. And I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Vizanard.
Heavenly Father, we ask for wisdom and guidance for our council members as they make decisions for our city. Please grant them unity, understanding, and a commitment to justice and the common good. May their decisions be filled with respect, and may their actions reflect goodness in everyone. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Ms. Renee? What's going on? Here.
Mr. Young,
Here.
Mr. Harvey,
Here.
Mr. Morris,
Here.
Mr. Vizano, Mr. Fondell,
Here.
and Mr. Weatherford.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. We have a special meeting today, and we're handling one item. And we got one item for introduction. Number one, the following resolution may be adopted by consent. A resolution selecting the former Capital One Tower site for the indoor sports facility, such selection conditioned upon applicable state and federal funding partners' approval of the site. Anybody want to say anything? We have some cards at this time. Jacob Raftery?
That's me.
You want to speak?
I just said I was in support, did not want to speak.
Okay. Mr. Raftery is in support. Jay Eckel, he's in support. Jim Rock. State your name and address for the record, Mr. Rock.
Jim Rock, 3939 Buccaneer Lane, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to speak for it in favor of the location. And I represent Lake Erie Industry Alliance and sometimes the Community Foundation, Southwest Louisiana. And both those organizations support this site. And I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, I had someone else here speak on my part because I couldn't make it. And he talked about how many employees we have, how many employees we anticipate having with all the LNG export activity, and the fact that we have to replace a certain number of people every year. So it's important for us, and always has been, for us to have a community that with a good quality of life, a community that's vibrant and interesting, so we can keep our talent that's here existing, and we can import talent from other places like Alabama, where I came from a long time ago, 1977. And we think this does it. And we feel like this is a good location because it's right by I-10, so about 100,000 vehicles every day are going to see it if they're going east or west and think, well, that's something interesting, I might want to get off and enjoy it, see what's going on there. It's also got the parking deck right next to it. Obviously needs some work, but you can put 500 vehicles in there right now. Could be expanded to 700 vehicles. And it's walkable distance to the event center, to Crying Eagle, to the lakefront. And whenever you have, we feel like whenever you have a diversity of different kinds of activities in one area, there's some synergy that takes place. They kind of feed off of one another, as opposed to having 2 or 3 things in one place and something else, across town. And it's not on the edge of town. It's a place where everybody comes to in their normal day.
That's it. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Rob? I got a couple questions for you, Mr. Rob.
All right.
You said you represent the Community Foundation and the Lake Area Alliance,
The Lake Area and Industry Alliance, yeah.
the Industry Alliance. When was the first time you heard about this project?
Several months ago.
Several months ago.
Well, yeah, 2 or 3 months ago.
So, in your opinion, was this a good idea when Fitzgerald was the site?
Was it a good idea?
Yes. Was Fitzgerald a good site? And I'm asking because the 2 entities that you represented didn't come and speak at those meetings about the Fitzgerald site, but y'all feel the need to speak now about the Cap 1 site. And I'm just wondering if it should not happen to go to the Cap 1 site and for some reason goes back to the Fitzgerald site, would you still have the same position?
We think it's a good project for the community, but we think it's the best location at this site.
And you seem to be pretty knowledgeable. Can you tell me why, other than what you said about the cars passing and all that, you are familiar with this being a destination site?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Rob? Appreciate you, Mr. Rob.
Sure.
Eric Zortler.
In support of, willing to talk if needed. Any questions?
Eric Zortler is in support. Dave Evans.
How's it going? Dave Evans, 719 and 949 Ryan Street. I have Luna Bar and Grill downtown, and also have Augustine now downtown. What he left out is that we got businesses all down here that need support all the time. So I'm for, and we are for, the Downtown Business Association is definitely for putting it down here. We were for the amphitheater. We just want business. We just want progress. We want things to not be vacant. So that's our stance.
Any questions? I do have one question. Being that the type of business that you have, entertainment would basically be the nourishment for your business. Anything headed toward or geared towards entertainment.
Correct? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Miles Brown. State your name and address for the record, please.
Miles Brown, 10204 4th Avenue. I just want to say I am for making sure that every remedy is exhausted for it to go to North Lake Charles first. The reason why is not because I just want to see North Lake Charles grow, but I think it's ultimately better all around for Lake Charles if it's in North Lake Charles. And I'll say this, that when I kind of studied the facility, it seemed like it was basically meant for it to drive people from out of town to come there. So if you're trying to get people to come out of town, and this facility being as nice as what it is, I'm not saying it doesn't matter where it's going to be headed, but if it's supposed to be really nice, people are going to go to it regardless. When I grew up playing sports, we traveled everywhere. It didn't matter if it was a backwoods or suburban area. If you build it right, they're going to come. And another thing I would like to bring is that by putting it in North Lake Charles, yeah, the businesses that are in that area, they're going to get that money first. But what people fail to realize is that those dollars that start in North Lake Charles is eventually going to get fluctuated to other areas of Lake Charles. By putting it downtown, yes, the businesses here are going to make a lot of money and they're going to make profit, but you're not going to see those dollars circulate throughout Lake Charles. And the goal is to have dollars circulate all the time within Lake Charles. So, for example, it's unfortunate, even though North Lake Charles is a very nice area and there's good businesses, there's not enough businesses. So in that area, you're not gonna see dollars just stay within that community. So eventually, those dollars will go South Lake Charles, downtown, east, west, and all together, you have one Lake Charles put together. And when you do that, not only is it gonna make the strength of Lake Charles economy better, you're gonna see more jobs become created and higher wages. So by putting it in North Lake Charles, I feel like that is the start to where you wanna have this thing grow. And then you're gonna see too, that whenever these people start coming in, more people are gonna wanna start to invest in North Lake Charles and wanna start building businesses there. So altogether, it's best to start it in North Lake Charles and have it there because everybody's can benefit from it. And another thing too is, just because it's in North Lake Charles doesn't mean that people that don't live there can't go and visit it. There's nothing stopping anybody from not going there. If it's nice, people from South Lake Charles, east, west, should still be able to come and visit. There's a lot of things where people can patronize and see all the great things in North Lake Charles. And there's a lot of stigma that it's just bad out there, but there's a lot of great people, there's a lot of good businesses that actually need to be patronized. So this is a good way for everybody to see what all Lake Charles can be offered. I think I have somebody that yielded their time to me.
Let me see. You know who it is?
Mr. Bellard?
Mr. Delafosse?
No, Mr. Bellard.
Oh, Mr. Bellard. Okay, Milton Bellard. All right.
Yeah.
You got 3 more minutes.
Well, 4, right? Because you said it was 1 minute left.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's mainly what I would like to see. Another thing I want to bring up is that, I brought up a lot, is that I do remember at the inauguration, the mayor said that he did not want Lake Charles to not just be the best city in the state, but also the nation, even possibly the world. If that were to happen, then all of Lake Charles has to get maximized. There's been a stigma for generations, even people younger than me and older than me, that have always thought that North Lake Charles has been getting benign neglect. This is a chance right here to where that notion can be proven wrong, where now that you have this in North Lake Charles, people can't say the city of Lake Charles doesn't care about North Lake Charles. This is a clear, concrete action that is made, and it will be shown that people actually do care about North Lake Charles and that the city does want to make a statement and they want to see North Lake Charles grow and ultimately all of Lake Charles grow. So I think I've made it within 3 minutes. I don't know if I should use the rest, but.
You have a minute left.
Let me see.
I'm not saying you have to use it. I'm just saying
Well,
you have a minute left.
You know, I thought about it, and I'm be mad if I don't say what I want to say after I go back and sit down. But for the most part, again, I do want to say this too, that this is a legacy project, so it would be great to see this be built somewhere. I just want to make sure that all things are exhausted to where it's in North Lake Charles first, because there's a lot of untapped potential in North Lake Charles, and a lot of people can grow from it. And then again, like I said, by putting North Lake Charles, you're gonna see it to where everybody's gonna benefit and not just one particular community in certain businesses. So that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Priscilla Sam. State your name and address for the record, please.
Priscilla Sam, 2239 Legion Street. I yield my time to Mr. Gene Thibodeau.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me put there. Chantel Willis. State your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Chantel Willis, 2725 Alice Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana. And today I just really want to say really one thing. This project wasn't really put into place to bring money, but to build up a community. And so our goal, if what I understood for this project, was to build up a community that has been so far denied for so long. And we are one Lake Charles, but yet we forget about half of it. Right? So we want to make sure that we move forward with this. I would like to see us move forward with this project in North Lake Charles, where the people there would love to see that community build, and we could grow so many things, right? If we work together to grow this part of the city. Imagine what we could do if we grew North Lake Charles along with South Lake Charles, with Central Lake Charles, and what we can do. So Lafayette has outgrown us, and there's a reason. Because we're not working together. And if we collaborate and work together, then it's amazing what we could do. So I am against moving this from the North Lake Charles area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willis.
Am I able to talk? I know I said I didn't want to, but,
Who are you?
Jacob Rafferty.
Big Raptor?
Yeah,
Here's the first one, I believe.
I changed my mind. It's okay if not.
Come on, Jake. Jacob.
Jacob Rafferty, 1718 West Common Street. I just had written down a few thoughts, or more of like, yeah, I'm just gonna go. I think that, one, I'm in support of this going into the Capital One site. But I just want to say that I believe North Lake Charles, particularly the Fritz and Ryder Road area, is deserving and in need of an investment of this level. And it's clear that this level of investment would bring real energy and pride to that community. Given how often North Lake Charles has been told not this, but don't worry, something else later, and has been too often and has seen too many empty promises over the years, I understand their frustration, and the frustration is real. I share that concern, and I want to be clear. I do not believe the mayor or the city council will allow North Lake Charles to continue to be passed over. During Mayor Simeon's run earlier this year, I had a unique opportunity to speak with him. And I don't mean to put his business out there, but he's a resident of North Lake Charles. I don't think he's going to let his community get passed over. And I know he's deeply committed to the revitalization of North Lake Charles. And that was one of the top reasons why myself and a number of my friends of mine that live in District D voted for Mayor Simeon, because he lives in that community and he wants to see it grow. But I just don't think that that's the right project for that community. And we also can't ignore the unique opportunity we have right now. If we place this facility anywhere other than downtown, we risk hamstringing it from ever reaching its full economic potential. Downtown is the only location that allows a $30 million investment become the true catalyst it was meant to be. Some benefits of building downtown. It creates a true tourism anchor. Right now, Lake Charles currently lacks a major multi-night non-casino tourism driver. A downtown complex brings families here for tournaments and ensures they stay, eat, and shop in our city. It activates vacant land, turns underutilized property into a year-round hub of activity, increasing property values and energizing the core of our city. And our downtown is our whole city's downtown. It's not just downtown's downtown. It's not just District A's downtown. It is our city's downtown. It boosts downtown businesses, restaurants, shops, and hotels that are hopefully going to come. Will gain steady customers while sales tax revenues grow for the city. This supports civic and cultural venues, the Rosa Hart Theater, Panorama.
Mr. President, the time of the speaker is expired.
You need some more time?
Can I just have a couple more minutes?
Yes, sir.
Sweet, appreciate
Please
that.
vote.
7-4.
Benefit from nearby families and visitors who are likely to buy tickets and attend shows. It avoids putting burdens on our visitors as well. Tourists won't need rental cars, shuttles, or long drives. They'll have everything, food, lodging, and entertainment within walking distance. Additionally, they won't have to search for what to do. They will step outside of the complex and will be immersed in our city center with tons of world-class amenities. This also aligns with the master plan, supports Lake Charles' long-term vision for a walkable, vibrant, and economically strong downtown. And it builds confidence in downtown. It shows citizens and businesses alike that the city is committed to its heart, sparking further private investment. So I guess in short, building the sports complex downtown doesn't just give us a facility. It solves multiple long-standing challenges and positions Lake Charles to finally become a destination, not just a stopover.
You had a question for Mr. Jacob? Go ahead, Mr. Fundell.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you know where these funds come from to build this facility?
I believe they're coming from the federal government, correct?
It's for low to moderate income people to build economic development in a low to moderate income neighborhood. This is not private dollars, but it was designed to help people in those areas. And do you think that area is low to moderate income?
No, I do not.
Okay. So that's where the funds are coming from. And you said they had hotels. How many hotels do we count downtown?
Oh, I mentioned hopefully
Lodging.
No, you say you hope they come.
Hope they come.
Oh,
There's
well, I can tell you where they're going to go. They're going to all go to Salford. When they come out of that place, they're going to get on their little Google, nearest hotel, and all of them is right down the highway. Like the young man was saying earlier, in North Lake Charles, they would have to pass up all the hotels in Lake Charles before they got to that. But putting it there, all the resources are already in place for Sulphur, Westlake. They got the hotels, they got the restaurant, they got everything. There's no reason for them. When I traveled with AAU, most of the time we didn't have time to shop, and we might have had a day off if we took, but most of the time you're going to the event and you're going back to eat and go back to the hotel. All of that traffic, I-10 gonna take them dead to Sulphur, and Lake Charles won't benefit from most of it. I just wanted to let you know that, okay?
I understand your concern, sir. I just share a different opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because you were concerned, that's why I wanted to inform you that it should go to North Lake Charles. It's not to attack you personally. It's just to inform you where that money came from. That money was designed to help low-income people, which happen to be in North Lake Charles. You know what I'm saying? And I believe you are sincere about that.
Yes.
And if the money, we have a whole bunch of investments waiting to come to downtown Lake Charles, waiting to go to this specific spot. They're in line to do that. But we got to take this one project that may happen once in a lifetime for North Lake. Nobody gonna come invest $30 million in the near future in North Lake Charles. There's no way that's gonna happen. This is an opportunity that they either take it, get it, or they not. And I really appreciate you because I believe you're sincere, but that's what that's what I'm so passionate about. That North Lake Charles had to wait year after year, excuse after excuse after excuse, and then finally, and the previous administration did a lot of work. I did some research, and for 2 years, they searched and looked at this thing, and they decided, including Mr. Martz and Mr. Harvey and what's your name? But these guys worked at it, and they had time to make a clear decision where this thing should go. You see what I'm saying? And it wasn't half-hearted. It wasn't because this didn't work. They looked at it, and they decided that was the best site because of its size. You see, Lafayette finna build one, and it's huge. We're gonna have to shrink it down, make folks can jump over. We're doing all kind of efforts to make this work downtown, make it fit where it don't fit. When we have other options for the very site that we're talking about. We spent $2.9 million for this property. We have investors that are ready to invest in this particular property. It's not like the property gonna sit there. And then with the new tax we just passed, we passed all kind of money to put we was gonna rebuild what you call that, the music park. We was gonna rebuild it there.
Amphitheater.
The amphitheater was supposed to go there. We already have money for this, but there's no money to replace North Lake Charles. I mean, at all. And I'm not taking it out on you personally. I just want to educate. I'm sorry if I offended you.
No, sir,
Okay.
you haven't. I do think that there could be a situation worked out where a certain, tax revenues are earmarked, or revenues from the facility itself are earmarked for a revitalization fund for North Lake Charles. I think there is a compromise here to make sure that you guys are benefited, that
Well,
North Lake
listen.
Charles is benefited. Yes, sir. I think that there could be something here, but to derive the full economic potential of this complex, to make sure that, Dave over here gets spillover, to make sure Panorama J. Ecker gets spillover, to make sure that, the Fair and the Emporium and all the other shops in downtown Lake Charles get spillover. Like the tourists, the people that are going to be coming from out of town to go there need a place to spill over. And then that's how we drive the full economic value of this, is how can we make sure that the tourists that are coming to our town, that we capture as many of their tourist dollars, that discretionary income in our community. That's
What I'm saying is there are better venues to do that than the sports center. The sports center is a unique thing where people travel with their kids, and they tend to leave a lot quicker. They don't stick around as much. Some do, some don't. When I traveled, it was to the sporting events, and the hotel most of the time. And you Google where you're gonna go, you find. When I was traveling, it was there. It's Golden Corral and all this where you can feed a large family on a cheap budget. You know what I'm saying? You go eat there, and you go to the sporting event, and once you leave that event, because you're traveling every other weekend, and it gets expensive. So when you look at the people that the sports centers attract, it's not the same that we're talking about here.
It is kids, and there is the Port Wonder, which is a kid's place to go, and I just feel like it creates a synergy in our downtown. But I'm sorry I keep rebutting. I'm sure that's inappropriate.
No, it's no problem. I thank you, and I didn't mean to throw it all on you. I just wanted to get that discussion out. It was killing me.
I
had to get
appreciate it.
out.
I appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rapp.
Thank y'all.
Willie King. You can go right there, Mr. King. You can go right there. Yes. State your name and address for the record.
Willie King. I have multiple addresses, but I do have 1611 Gerstner. So it's clear that I'm in favor of building in North Lake Charles. Many years ago, Father Mancuso and I sat at a Waffle House, and we were planning ways to build North Lake Charles. And a few minutes later, the Twin Towers were tearing it down, so we called that project Build a Future, which was what was needed. We have spent all those years picking places that most folks did not want to go, didn't think it could work. And often, they were correct, other than we didn't believe it. We believed that it would work. And so we built one house at a time, and now that's well over 100 in places most folks say that it couldn't be done. Now, North Lake Charles is never going to match the resources that downtown have. Never. We already know that. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's a start. Maybe they won't get everything that they want, but they'll get a start. And if you get a start, then you'll get a future. Not far from there, you notice that we're building an entire subdivision. Some of the best houses made. Why? Because we still believe that even in the places that had all those trees, we tore them down, and it doesn't look like that anymore. Right across from the school, the best houses, looking for the best teachers to live there, the best law enforcement to live there, the best people in the community. So why wouldn't you give it this one chance? And I know there's no competition, but why? I don't understand it, and I've been researching it and looking at it, and yeah, there's lots going on at that Hibernian Center, whatever it is, but there's lots going on off of Fitzgerald Road too, and there will be even more if you guys will give it this one time, this one chance. Yeah. Just let them have one. We're not asking for the entire thing. Let North Lake Charles have one. That's my.
Thank you, Mr. King. Ms. Wanda King. Yes, ma'am. State your name and address for the record. I know you got a lot too, but just give me one.
But the one in particular I'm going to talk about tonight is, my name is Wanda King, and my address is 2118 Knapp Street. And I just want to say that when I moved back here to Lake Charles, I could have built anywhere in this city. I specifically chose North Lake Charles because of the growth that was dedicated from the Enterprise Thruway, Fitzroy Road, the King Mancuso neighborhood that's coming up, and all of the potential from this particular project to bring a start to North Lake Charles. What happens to those homes that's on the water on Ryan Street? Is that not North Lake Charles? Our mayor campaigned on one Lake Charles, not north, not south. We are one Lake Charles. These dollars were allocated to Lake Charles, North Lake Charles, for the correct income and the potential to start somewhere. When we went south of town and they built Burton Coliseum, it was a start. Why can't we let these dollars stay? Why can't we come together and support a beginning for North Lake Charles? It will employ, it will bring people, we will have support, and our community will be one Lake Charles. We want to connect it. I am for it being built there. I have invested my dollars and my voting rights and everything that surrounds me to build this community again. And if I have any time left over on my speak, I'm going to yield it to Judge Thibodeau because I want this in North Lake Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Gene Thibodeau. Judge Gene Thibodeau.
Mr.
President Mark and members of the City Council, Gene Thibodeau, 3910 Marie Court, Lake Charles. I'm appearing on behalf of Renew Lake Charles. Renew Lake Charles is the entity that Keith Durso and I own that has been through a competitive submission awarded the rights to build a hotel and conference center in downtown on the lakefront property. The property that is being proposed, Capital One, is in an opportunity zone. Congress created this in 2017 for a purpose. The opportunity zone is to attract private investors to invest money so that the area can be successfully enhanced. If an investor stays there for 5 to 7 years, the investor gets a 10% discount. If the investor stays there from 7 to 10 years, it's a 15% discount. Over 10 years, we pay no capital gains taxes. And so one of the 3 sites that have been suggested for the construction of the hotel and conference center is this very site, the Opportunity Zone site. So to put a public facility there would subvert the intention of the Opportunity Zone area. It would take this site out of the stream of commerce because a public facility is there. You cannot attract private business because that property has already been taken up by a public facility. Now, this property, this sports center, I'm all in favor of a sports center, by the way. And before I go any further, Mr. Mac Delafosse and Ms. Priscilla Sam and Ms. King have have conceded their time to me.
Got you. I got them right here.
Okay, good. Yeah, and Alderman Cusa and I did some research, and I want to submit this into the record. This one for each council person. This sports complex in Bryan, Texas is part of a 150-acre complex. It does not stand alone. A bowling alley is being built there, movie theaters are being built there. It's 30 miles from Texas A&M. There are 2 walking paths. It's not intended to be it's intended to be not a standalone entity which would produce income. It doesn't do that. It's meant to be a catalyst to attract other business ventures. And we all know that North Lake Charles, particularly Fiscal Road, needs that type of structure to attract other businesses. It's a catalyst. And I'm kind of partial to it because I grew up 3 blocks from Fiscal Road. So I know that community very well. Not only that, but if you look at the budget of Bryan, Texas, for 2026, this sports complex, the expenditures exceed the revenues, such that the city of Bryan has to allocate $1 million from its general fund in order to keep this sports complex functioning properly. So you're not going to see that much income being generated from the Capital One site. If it's patterned after Bryan, Texas, you're going to see the general fund of the city may have to be used to enhance that the revenues, because in Bryan, Texas, the expenditures exceed the revenues. It's a losing proposition, and the city has to give it relief by $1 million. Okay, and that's all in the submissions that I've given to you all. This is not Thibodeau talking. These are the figures from Bryan, Texas itself. Now, we are proposing the construction of a hotel downtown at 3 different locations, okay? We have a Hilton Garden Inn, 160 rooms. One side is to the east of the Civic Center in the green space. One side is to the northwest. The other site is on Capital One property. For the 160 key room Hilton, an upgraded Hilton Inn, the less expensive site is the Capital One site. If it's east of the Civic Center, it's going to be about $50 million. If it's northwest of the Civic Center, it's about $62 million. If it's on the Capital One site, it's $49 million. These figures also take into account the $12 million conference center that the city is paying for. The city is going to own this conference center. We'll run it. We'll lease it from the city. Now, if we go to Cadillac Plan, the enhanced, upgraded Embassy Suites, same locations, those three locations that I've just articulated, east of the Civic Center, northwest of the Civic Center, and the Capital One. Again, the less expensive site is the Capital One site. The green space in front of the Civic Center will be about $93 million. That includes the $12 million conference center that the city owns. The site to the northwest will be $106 million. Capital One site will be $92,700,000. So, of all these 3 sites, the Capital One site is the least expensive. I was about to say is the cheaper. It's not cheap. It's the least expensive site. And so, that's Renew Lake Charles. That's our opposition to placing it there. We are certainly in agreement with the sports complex. We think it's a great attraction for the city. We fully support that, okay? And I mean, just to be clear, okay, if the Capital One site is not available to us, that's not going. It's not the death knell. We're going to build it, and we're going to build something that the city is proud of, either to the east of the Civic Center, the green space in front, or to the northwest. But I'm telling you, the Capital One site is the most advantageous site for that project. The city commissioned a consulting company, CBRE, to do a study, a market study of the impact of the Civic Center, of the hotel and conference center downtown. And the hotel and conference center complex will be the epicenter of the city's master plan. Okay? It's going to be visible to the public, visible to I-10. The total economic impact will be $71.3 million to this area. That is in addition to the $41 million construction budget. So it's going to be a huge economic impact for all of Lake Charles, but particularly for downtown Lake Charles. Sales taxes, $7.3 million, property taxes, $2.4 million, 3.3 occupancy tax. It's a 5% occupancy tax. 4% will go to the Visitors Bureau and 1% will go to the city under the plan. And we're following the plan that that CBRE, the city's consultant, has proposed. We're following it to the T. So as I said, it's just taking the Capital One site out of the stream of commerce. We'd be scratching our head. We don't understand that from a business standpoint. And even if we put the hotel, yes, sir, I'm being bossed around. Even if we put, yes, sir, even if we put the hotel and the conference center on the Capital One site, we will still have sufficient acreage left to the north of that so that the city can use that area to attract additional capital improvements to the city. And I can understand why the grant indicated that it should be in a low to moderate income area. Those areas typically do not have business development. And this sports complex is intended to bring and generate other income, other revenue producing entities in that area. And I would certainly like to see it in an area where I grew up, down 3 blocks of Fitzon Rider Road. As I said, I don't want to mislead the city, nor do I want to mislead the council into thinking that this will kill our project. It won't. It won't. But it's going to be greatly enhanced if it were on the property of Capital One. The figures I just gave you were based on a 150-room hotel.
Mr. President, the time of the speaker is
Yes,
expired.
sir. Our figures are based on
He had 9 minutes.
Our figures are based on a 160-room Hilton Garden Inn or a 200-room Embassy Suites.
Judge, excuse me 1 second. You need more time?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'll just entertain any questions.
Okay, any questions for Judge Thibodeau? I have a question. I was in a meeting with the administration, and the administration informed me that y'all wanted the site for free,
Which site?
the Capital One site. Y'all wanted to put y'all hotel there, but y'all wanted to put it there for free. Is
No.
that,
We're going to, the city has contributed $12 million for a conference center. The city will own that conference center. We will operate that conference center under a lease with the city. If we place our hotel on the Capital One grounds or any of the areas owned by the city, we will pay the city a lease rate for that property. So we're not getting anything for free.
so
Hell,
you,
we're risking millions of dollars, and I'm not in the business of trying to lose money. That's why our preference is the Capital One site. It's an opportunity zone.
so you just leasing the conference center, or
No.
you leasing the hotel too?
But no, we're going to own the hotel.
The site where you're placing?
We're going to enter into a lease arrangement with the city for the hotel, because the city will own the property.
It was still reserved.
The city will own the conference center. We're going to run it under a lease arrangement with the city.
So you're gonna have a lease for the conference center,
Yes,
you're gonna have a lease for the hotel,
correct.
and you're gonna run the conference center for the city.
That's correct.
And the other grounds on the city center are not opportunity zones.
No,
So, wow,
they're not
So
opportunity zone. Yeah.
wow.
They're, as I said, we've got some options, but our best option is Capital One property.
Any other questions?
Question.
Judge Thibodeau?
Where would the conference center be? Would it be connected to the hotel if the conference center is at the Capital One site? The tower
Mr.
site?
Butler, we have different iterations. Our architect has drawn so many plans, he's getting writer's cramp. And so we have a lot of different iterations that we can, and the city has been cooperative in looking at those plans. So one plan would have the conference center connected to the hotel. One would have the conference center on event center grounds,
and the hotel on the event center.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah, so we get,
But if the hotel was at the tower site, would the conference center be at the tower site, connected to the hotel? Or would it be
we
across
would
the street?
prefer that the conference center be connected to the hotel, Mr. Weatherford.
Okay.
I think the city's
I'll assume
preference
that.
would be for the conference center to be on the event center grounds. So those are the things that we're negotiating. We're ready to start tomorrow.
Okay.
This process going. So there are different iterations that we're talking to the city about.
Any other questions or comments for
So-
Mr. Thibodeau?
So y'all ready to go just as quickly as we can build this sports center, you can build this hotel?
If the city gives us, if we can come to an agreement with the location, Mr. Fondell, of the conference center and the hotel, we're ready to start tomorrow.
And plus all of these other dollars that we planning on investing downtown, but yet we still reserve the right to yank that one little project out of North Lake Charles to, I mean, we got that just, it blows my mind. The revenues that would bring, plus we have other money already set aside. We was gonna put something, and the money is there set aside to do the investment downtown. But yet, we'll yank this little thing out of North Lake Charles and downsize it, where we're not in competition anymore. We're not in accurate competition with Lafayette. Lafayette just put out how big they center gonna be. And we making it work, because see, actually, the city is having to pay the $2.9 million for the property. Then we got to redo the garage. That's separate from the $30 million. That's got to come out of budget. And then the evidence showed that this is not a quick money maker. It takes time before it makes money. And all of that's going to be coming out of the city budget from other programs, because we're going to have to take money out to redo the parking garage. And here we have an investor ready to go on that very same property. And we're sitting here wondering. That is amazing.
Yeah, I don't envy what you all have to do.
Any other questions for go ahead, Mr. Weatherford.
Is there any iteration where the hotel would buy the tower property from the city?
No. Why? Because in order to in order to generate a taxable bond, it has to be on city-owned property, and the
Tax-free bond, is it, you want the flow, it would have to be taxable.
it has to be taxable bond, yeah.
Right.
And on December 18th of last year, the city passed an ordinance, unanimous ordinance, authorizing us to put it on city-owned property. So no, we can't buy it for that reason, and two, because we cannot take advantage of the bond process.
Now, if you're leasing the property, does it have to be a bargain lease, or will it be a fair market value for a lease of
But
$3
we
million
can't,
piece
the
of
lease
property?
cannot exceed state law. So it's gonna be a bargain for a lease, I would think.
Wow, I'm
We
sorry,
haven't, yeah, there are certain parameters to lease public property, and we're going to comply with that.
Okay.
But I mean, that's one of the bargaining points that we have with the city as well.
Any other
As I said,
questions?
we're totally in favor of a sports complex. It's just that we don't want to be denied the opportunity of an option to build a hotel and conference center there.
So, another question, certainly, the sports complex is gonna generate room nights. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so.
And, well, theoretically, I mean, that's one of the bigger reasons to build, is to attract these tournaments to generate room nights. So what about building, you talk about the green space in front of the Civic Center, when you say the east side of the Civic Center, where the Circle Drive is now, correct?
Yeah.
Why not build the sports complex there?
Well,
I know it's not in LMI, but.
That's for you all to decide, yeah. I wouldn't object to that.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we can explore those options.
Okay.
Yeah,
Better
there's-
than-
the green space in front of the Civic Center on the east side, that's an option for the
And in the
hotel and conference
northwest,
center.
the
In the northwest.
northwest corner.
Right.
Judge Thibodeau, in your studies of this, and Mr. Weatherford may know a little bit more about this. When we talk about hotel rooms, right?
Correct.
We're gonna generate hotel rooms with the sports complex if it's there. As seasonal and for a smaller group of people. Whereas the hotel generates 365 days of the year,
24/7.
24/7. And how many rooms?
Well, the city consultant patterned its recommendation on 150 rooms. Our recommendations are 160-room Hilton Garden Inn or a 200-room Embassy Suites.
Can I follow up on that?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
So, I understand, yeah, that, well, actually, it's not necessarily seasonal because it's an indoor complex. It can generate basketball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, pickleball tournaments, cornhole, cheering. So, it's, and a lot of these sports are year-round.
Yeah,
too.
but when I say seasonal, Mr. Weatherford.
I understand what you're saying, yeah. So theoretically, what it would do, if you can build, without this facility, if you could build, just use the 150-room hotel, if you have this driver of people to that area that would want to stay at a hotel, maybe it makes a hotel 10% bigger, 15%. Maybe you can have 10% more rooms at that facility.
Yeah, well, we've discussed that possibility with the city administration. If we place it on Capital One property, there's additional footage to the north where you could expand the hotel, or
So the hotel's not going to take up that whole footprint?
no.
And you're not going to have surface parking on the part that's not the hotel?
Yeah, we'll have.
I think you would want that.
Yeah, we'll have parking, ground parking,
Right.
where the old
on
parking
the
lot used
north
to be.
side,
On
yeah.
the north side,
Right.
and the parking garage.
Right, sure, I understand that.
Yeah.
So, okay,
But there's room for expansion.
right,
You know, and I hope, in fact, it's successful enough that we'll have to expand.
right. Okay,
Good?
yes.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Thibodeau.
Okay, thank you all.
Mr. Bilbo, any comments?
First, I want to explain to everyone that, including myself, I was never against this gym, what we call it, a sports complex being away from North Lake Charles. I wanted it to go to North Lake Charles. I grew up in Fisherville. But to my understanding is that we don't have a choice to put it in North Lake Charles because the guy who owned it refused to negotiate his price from $1.2 million to $850,000. And by law, we can't give him more than $850,000. So unless somebody want to come up with $350,000 that I don't have, that most people don't have, we don't even have a negotiations with him. Mr. Talbot, generosity out of him, offered to give us 7 acres of his property that he owned, him and his church. And that was generous of him. But as I went through meetings, they have a major energy line that rides into the middle of it. It's in a low area, so you'd have to spend over $1 million just in dirt work because it's in a flood zone, and bring in a retention pond that is in a flood zone that you must have that would take up even more acreage. So right now, I know we're passionate about North Lake Charles, but we don't have nobody to deal with in North Lake Charles. The guy told us he was not willing to negotiate. In the email that came in from the city attorney, that they spoke to him and told him that he's not negotiating. So yes, we all wanted in North Lake Charles, but we don't have a spot. If we don't take it, tonight we are voting on the CM Tower. We're not voting on North Lake Charles. We're not voting on District C. We're not voting on District F. We voting on the CM Tower, and if we lose, we're gonna be just like everybody else that came through this city council and lost everything to Lafayette. We lost buckets. We lost the golf tournament, the golf place. Because Lafayette don't care where they put it. They just want it for business. So I understand what everybody passionate about. I grew up in Fisherville. My mama from the rice mill, my daddy from the Fisherville. I grew up there. My kids went to black schools, but we don't have nobody to deal with. This guy is not here telling us he want to negotiate with us. He told us he's not. I got the email in my phone. He said, I want 1.2 million. He didn't leave it open to saying, let's talk, let's go to dinner, let's eat, let's drink a beer. No, he said, I want 1.2 million or move on. That's the understanding I got. That's why when it came to me to discuss about a location, I'm like, shit, I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose 30 million. Then everybody on Facebook gonna be calling me a duck saying, oh man, we lost 30 million because y'all sitting there arguing about something that we have no control of. Harvey and Craig did a wonderful job trying to get there, but I believe that we was all misled to think that it was going to praise higher than what it was. I don't know the rules. I don't know if we can go negotiate a lease. I don't know if we can deal LMI funds to rechange things. None of that been put on the table. All we do is talk about something that we can't discuss. So, you know, I want it there, but if we can't negotiate with him, I got to move on. And the only thing that we have on this agenda tonight to vote on is the CM Tower, or we back to square one. My kids played AAU at the same time his kids did. Our goal was to get Texas. You're not getting New Orleans anyway. New Orleans got enough tournaments between I-10 and 12. They don't have to come this direction. They got casinos. Lafayette trying to get that part of it. We're trying to get the part coming from Texas because of all these things. I was a young parent. They always had an older parent that sat back at the hotel and watched the kids while us young parents went out and enjoy ourselves, right? And then I'm just telling you the truth. So they want to get to the casino. They want to get to the stuff that we have. They want to get to our food. If it had been North Lake Charles, I'd be clicking yes. It didn't appraise, I'm sorry. The guy said the guy was here, one of the meetings, he didn't speak up. They done reached out and talked to him. Nobody here is against it. We just can't negotiate. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, excuse me.
Shit, I can't talk to her?
No.
Okay. We can't talk to her, but to my knowledge by the rules, we can't negotiate more than what it appraised for. And the appraiser came back at 850,000. So unless we can do something different, I don't know what y'all want us to do. If we say no to CM Tower, I don't know if they got anything else on the table. Everything else they done checked in came back as a no. To me, they bought up Hobby Lobby, they bought up Kroger's, they done bought up some area right on I-10 where we had to buy people homes out. You know that was gonna be a disaster. So, what else they bought up? About 7 spots, and all of them was a no. So as of today, unless something come out the clear blue, that's all we have left. So if y'all say no to CM Tower, you saying no to the project, because it can't go to Fisher Rider Road. I'm done.
Yes, sir. Thank you. For the last 6 weeks, this council has had multiple public hearings. We've listened a lot of impassioned feelings on every side of the argument from every corner of Lake Charles. It has been really difficult to watch, but a part of me wants to be encouraged by that, because that is people who care about their community, who care about the way that we plan it and grow it and work it together to work for each other. So I'm somewhat heartened by the fact that there's been such a lively conversation. But at some point, I think leadership requires us to move forward. And as I've said before, I think inaction is going to lose the facility altogether. 10 days ago, article about Lafayette going forward with a lease near UL. And should that affect us? No. Does it? Yes. I don't believe that our two markets are big enough to support one facility like this and make it operationally in the black, and the city not have to constantly subsidize it. And I think that we capitalize on the facility by putting it downtown where it can benefit everyone by being in the middle. The fitness center aspect that I've brought up before and been ridiculed for saying, but I believe it has validity, is that since 2020, the loss of Gigi's downtown and the loss of YMCA before and the loss of the First Baptist Church Old Gym, there's not any fitness centers like within a 2-mile radius from this part of town. That's not something that other districts necessarily have to be concerned about. So I want it. I want it to be built. Period. I don't want it to lose it all together. Mr. Bilbo makes a good point. Other councils that have sat up here before, and because of one reason or another, inaction caused them to lose things, even like the oil and gas center going back to the 80s, where when people said last one out, gonna turn the lights out in Lake Charles. I just want us to get this for Lake Charles and let it be something that makes people here proud, because we're ready to come together, not be divided any longer, and build something that truly will affect and impact the rest of the city.
Good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. President. First and foremost, I'm gonna try to not be as long, but I got a lot to say. First and foremost, I want to put a disclaimer out. I know the local media is covering this tonight. 43 years old, I've never been touched by a police officer. I've never been escorted out of nowhere. I tried to reach out for the record, to clear the record, that during the last meeting, Ronnie Harvey Jr. was never escorted out of a city council meeting, and Ronnie Harvey Jr. was never escorted to his car. That's for the record. Mr. Vizina is sitting right here. He can attest to that too. I never had to be separated by an officer from Lake Charles Police Department. That's for the record. I mean, we got cameras in here, we can see that, but I want my name to be cleared in the Lake Charles American Press and KPLC, whoever put that out there. Because as a man of high integrity and character, I've never been touched by a police officer or told to leave a location. I want to make sure that's clear. Again, Ronnie Harvey Jr., I'm speaking on behalf of myself and Mr. Vizina, but I was never removed from this council and escorted to my car because of disorderly conduct in a city council meeting. That never happened. So for the record, I would like that clear. That was printed in the Lake Charles American Press. I would appreciate that.
I concur, by the way.
Thank you, Mr. Vizina. I appreciate that.
And that didn't happen, and I was there too, that didn't happen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just think that sometimes that we gonna have media friends of the city and we trying to move one Lake Charles forward, we can't mispress things that's gonna affect his judgment or my character. And I'm just saying, I'm a man of integrity. There's many kids that look up to me in the community and in the education field. And for them to read that and to go into record, that's not fair for me, and that's not what I work for every day, and that's not how my parents raised me. So I would like a correction report in the media that, again, during the last city council meeting, Ronnie Harvey Jr. was never escorted out by the Lake Charles Police Department.
And Mr. Vizina.
And Mr. Vizina. That never happened. Thank you, Mr. Vizina. I appreciate that. Moving forward, to control the narrative before we move forward tonight, fellas, we're not going to lose anything to Lafayette. Let's stop saying that. This money is earmarked for Lake Charles. We're not going to lose anything to Lafayette. This is going to happen in Lake Charles, whether we vote on whatever location. Let's stop putting more things on the table that the public doesn't need to hear, because we're misconstruing information by saying we're going to lose something to Lafayette. I understand decades ago during the oil crisis or whatever you want to call it, that we somehow lost the oil industry to Lafayette. Let's stop comparing it, y'all. We got to stop saying that, because there's people who are out here tonight that's listening. There's people who's at home listening to us, and they're saying, man, we don't want to lose nothing to Lafayette. That's not even a possibility. Let's call it a spade a spade. That's not a possibility. We're not going to lose anything. I want to also say this. Let's not misconstrue people's energy and passion that's sent from the people who elected them to sit in these seats. I was elected by my constituents, and that's District 8. District 8 comprises of some of the wealthiest people in the city and some of the poorest people in the city. So I want to make sure I'm clear with saying that. I'm here to represent the entire District 8. Whether people think I'm favorable towards a location or not, I represent where the Capital One site is, and I represent the Fitz and Ryder area. That's not just me. That's anyone who has held the District 8 councilman or councilwoman of District 8. So I want to make sure I'm clear with that this is not a divide and conquer. Regardless of what we vote tonight, Ronnie Harvey is still going to be the representative in that area for the next 3.5 years. So let's just make that clear that we're not fighting. But when I was elected and what I ran my campaign upon was that I didn't promise anything. I didn't promise one entity. You can Google this if you think I'm not telling the truth. But I've always said my job, my mission, and the vision for the campaign was to ensure that District 8 was a better place to live, learn, work, play, and ultimately retire. That's the only thing I've ever promised, was to make that district a better place. So when I'm trying to make that district a better place, I'm always looking at it from an equity-based lens of where we need the most help at. It's no secret that the Gosport area has remained time and time and time and time again one of the most neglected areas of this city. When this new administration transferred powers, most of the talk and most of the common denominators used was, we're going to make this one Lake Charles, and we're going to improve the quality of life for North Lake Charles. Again, North Lake Charles encompasses the downtown area as well. So I want to make sure that we clear. We're not pointing the fingers of the have and the have-nots, but I'm going to be brutally honest. The way we've been communicating in this meeting, it's been a battle of the have and the have-nots. This project, these conversations started upstairs on the 10th floor with the previous administration. I was a councilman along with Mr. Weatherford at times and Mr. Marks at one time, who was a part of many conversations of when we even started talking about this. The best way I can convey this information is to talk about it in 3 phases. Because the word we keep talking about why we cannot have this on Fitz and Ryder Road is because of the word an appraisal. I'm an educated person. I'm very aware of what an appraisal means. I understand law. I understand that we cannot pay more for what the property appraises for. I'm not ignorant to the fact. I want to make sure everybody understand that. But what we're not going to sit up here and do is deny the fact that I have been very consistent with my message. And my message has been that we did not follow the process of the appraisal as the way it was intended to be followed. I'm going to say that again. I'm not ignorant to the fact of the information that has been presented us that this property has appraised for more than we can pay for by law. But as I have said time and time again, you can go look at the minutes. We did not follow the process of the appraisal the way it was intended to be followed. That is my problem. That is why I'm fighting with everything I have in me to go back. These council members to my left and my right has just said that, hey, why are we even talking about this when we can't pay more than the appraisal? You said, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bilbo, if I could, we would. But the evidence doesn't show that. Because the last time we sat up here and voted, I made a motion, correct me if I'm wrong, for you to give me the opportunity to just go back and have a conversation with the property owner on Fifth and Ryder. That vote failed. It was only 2 other people who voted with me to even give me an opportunity to have a conversation. So I disagree when y'all said we have done every single thing we could have done to go back and do our due diligence to make sure that we crossed every T and dotted every I. We did not. The vote can attest to it that we didn't even give my community, my district, my constituents an opportunity to go back and have a conversation just to solidify. I understand what he said in the email, but there's also a thing called bargaining and negotiating. I've been a councilman for 3 years. I'm very aware that the city of Lake Charles and many people have done that time and time again. Again, we were not granted that opportunity. The vote said it. I just asked for an opportunity for a conversation. I want you to focus in, and I'm talking about an appraisal. Let's talk about the pre-appraisal. And I'm going to refer to my notes to make sure that I, one, stay calm, okay? I don't want people to misconstrue my tone for my passion that I have for some of the most underserved. And yes, I'm gonna continue to say the word underserved population of this one Lake Charles, Louisiana. During the pre-appraisal process, I want you to understand, this endeavor started with us talking about that we were gonna have a $950,000 buy-sell option. I'll make sure I say option this time, because I know I've been saying agreement, and I get it, there's a difference. But it started with a $950,000 option that the previous administration agreed upon, knowing that we did not have an appraisal, okay? That buy-sell option failed, expired, or whatever. You guys can go back and check the minutes. When we got to the current administration, and again, I want to make sure I'm using the word administration because I'm not singling anybody out when we're talking about this. I want you to understand this. The current administration said that someone dropped the ball and did not renew the option. That was said in a public meeting, that someone, I don't know how it happened, but someone did not renew the option, okay? It was a $25,000 hold fee, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong. That option expired. Upon that option expired, I want to make sure I'm clear when I say this. This current administration went back and did another buy-sell agreement, knowing that the price was at $1.2 million. Why would we go back and pay a $25,000 fee along with a $4,000 fee per month, knowing that the property, the asking price was $1.2 million? So, Mr. Bilbo, you asked about us being, or you, Mr. Young, somebody said about us being misled, the miscommunication. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Because when I'm talking about this pre-appraisal process, if we knew that we couldn't do this before, why on earth will we spend the taxpayers' dollars of $25,000 plus an additional $4,000 a month, which the owner said he was upset because the city did not honor their contractual duties, their contractual side. So technically we was losing money, and we was aware that the asking price was $1.2 million. Stay with me for a second, okay? I want to say this. After the fact, we acknowledged the fact of the price, and we still went forward with it. Now, let's talk about, let me say this. In the pre-appraisal process, we submitted an application with the Fitz and Ryder Road site. It was approved. In fact, this is the only site that is approved at this time. The Capital One site isn't even approved, nor has it been submitted. The Fitz and Ryder Road project was the reason that we got approved for the project, because it was submitted as a site and it was approved for the site. We're talking about an appraisal though, but I want you to understand what we did as a city. We went forward with this. This was approved. Stay with me for a second. Not only was this site approved and submitted, but it was thought upon. We had several conversations, and we involved the constituents in the community about this. What gets me so appalled about this is that many people who I've seen time and time again come up and speak about where they want this location to be, when this was made public knowledge, I seen none of these faces. I saw none of these faces. I didn't see nobody jockeying for the fact to pull it away from Fitz and Ryder Road until it became a thing. When it became a thing, it's like it caught on like a name brand. We want it, we want it, we want it. So that's when I'm referring to some of the have and the have-nots, okay? Stay with me. We still in the pre-appraisal process. I also want to say this, that the Capital One site was not the first site name, because the first site and the original site was the Fitz and Ryder Road project. It wasn't the second site, the third site, the fourth site, or the fifth site. In fact, this is the last site that was ever mentioned about this project. We went all the way around naming sites, right? And then we landed on the Capital One site. How did we get to that point? My point I'm asking to the councilman, why was we never embracing Fitz and Ryder Road? Because I'm telling you about how it happened before we got to the appraisal. But we never embraced the Fitz and Ryder Road location. In fact, upon us being elected and we moved into our positions, from that day, we started talking about other locations. We never said, how can we embrace Fitz and Ryder Road? How can we talk to the owner? How can we make this work for these constituents? Because at the end of the day, LMI, low to moderate income. I understand District 8 encompasses downtown, but let's be brutally honest. We know why it's a LMI. We know why it qualified for that. Everybody can deny the fact, but we understand. But again, for the sake of time, let's go to the actual appraisal. And again, I stand to be corrected. It's a public meeting. Everything is recorded. If I'm wrong, someone please tell me I'm wrong. I'm going to go back to a timeline. On September the 28th, President Marks, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you received a notarized letter from the owner of the Fitz and Ryder Road property, did you not?
Yes, send it to all the council members. They all in
Okay,
possession.
so just for the sake, I just want to make sure everybody's clear with that. It stated, the owner stated in that notarized letter that the first time he ever heard of the appraisal was on 9/28. That's the first time he ever heard about anything about his property being appraised was on 9/28. He was contacted by an appraiser who came out of Lafayette. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Moving forward, I'm working back. On 9/19, September 19th, was the first time that I, as the councilman for District 8, ever heard of the appraisal, and this was during a meeting with the city administration. Myself, Mr. Marks, and Mr. Weatherford was on the phone. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the first time I ever heard of an appraisal. I'm working back, and I want people to please pay attention to the dates. We were told that it appraised for $850,000 on that day. I in turn asked, where is the appraisal? My response that I was given was, this was a preliminary number. The administration currently did not have the appraisal in hand. How ironically, we got the preliminary number at $850,000 when we didn't even have an appraisal. Mind you, I'm telling you, this happened on 9/19. The owner said he was not contacted until September the 28th. How can we conduct an appraisal without having contact the owner until, correct me if I'm wrong, 11 days later. The city attorneys, I got 2 different dates. Correct me if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. On September 23rd and September 24th, it said that the owner was contacted. Okay, on those particular dates, we say we have the letters to prove that he was contacted on September 23rd and September 24th. But again, the owner repeated and he put in a notarized letter that he was not contacted until 9/28. Mind you, this person has been characterized as a person who is disloyal, not reputable, and the city administration said they did not want to have a conversation with him because of the trust factor that was stated on the record. Okay, let's move forward. This is why I'm questioning the appraisal process. Y'all think I'm harping on the fact of it not going to Capital One, but I know for a fact we did not do everything in our power to exhaust the methods on Fitz and Ryder Road. We did not. Y'all don't have to take my word for it. Pull the minutes and pull the videos and go back and check my dates of what I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm saying right now and I'm giving you this hard evidence, how can you cast a vote knowing that we did not do our simple due diligence and exhausting every method we had for the location that was submitted for this particular project? That's the appraisal. Let's talk post-appraisal. So this is the third part of this. I got a little bit more time, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's talk about it. Capital One was never mentioned. I'm gonna say it again. The Capital One project was never mentioned. The Capital One project was never mentioned to be the location of the sports complex. So, and again, I get everybody passionate about coming about downtown and we speaking about all the things that can happen. Your location just got mentioned. The location that everybody's coming in here and speaking for and their organizations and everybody got something to say. This is the last location that was mentioned. We didn't even talk about this. This wasn't even a discussion. We didn't even submit the application on the behalf of that. That was supposed to be the amphitheater. That's public knowledge. So I don't want you to think I'm just pulling hot air. I want to say this. We talked about the Capital One site, but the Fitz and Ryder Road project was already approved. Well, I know we're talking about the appraisal, but it was already approved, and we went back and extended the buy-sell option knowing that it appraised for $1.2 million. So why we just didn't kill it and not go back and sign the buy-sell agreement or extend it when we knew from the fact that it could possibly never appraise for $1.2 million? Why were we being misled? Again, that's what I'm arguing for up here, was that, again, the appraisal process was flawed. I'm almost done. I want you to understand this. I asked this council to simply go back and let's have a conversation with the owner. Y'all told me no. Y'all told me no to go back and have a conversation, not to say let's officially move it back to Fitz and Ryder. Y'all told me no, we are not going to have a conversation. So I'm going to take up for the owner because I've had several conversations with him and say, we didn't do our due diligence. At the end of the day, I asked for a conversation. Y'all told me no. Y'all told me no, but we're ready to move forward and approve this Capital One site. But you say we can't even have a conversation. And the guy who represents that community, regardless of the site, you told him, man, we're not even going to grant you the powers that's invested in you to go back and have a conversation with something that pertains to your neighborhood, your constituents. I was told no by this council. Y'all told me no. It was voted on that way. I want to say this. We understand it's an opportunity zone, right? But I keep consistently asking the question, why did we never embrace Fitz and Ryder? Why did we never embrace Fitz and Ryder? When I just broke down to you about the appraisal process, because I get everybody keep saying the appraisal. I just broke it down for you. And you know what's the crazy part? Everybody up here participated in them same meetings that I speak of and I gave you dates for. I didn't make this up, y'all. Y'all sat to the left and to the right of me. And you voted by this knowing that we had some issues. You guys just said it. It's been a lot of miscommunication. It's been a very long time. We've been talking about this back and forth. But these are the facts. If these not the facts, tell me I'm lying. And then we gonna pull these videos that Ms. Renee Ms. Renee and the minutes and everybody do a phenomenal job of documenting. I'm gonna say this and I'm moving forward. This isn't about black or white. This isn't about North and South. This is about equality. I don't know about y'all, but I'm 43 years old. Ever since I can remember, North Lake Charles, the Gosport area, let's be specific. has never gotten what they always have been promised to get. Y'all, this is the reason we got the money, y'all. That's all I'm saying. This is a, somebody said it earlier, this is a legacy project. I don't want my name on it. I don't care. I'm not a person that got to be applauded and put pat on the back. But I care about this community. I'm a product of this community. I left for 5 years to go to college and came right back to live in District 8. It's my job to come back and do what's best for the future generations. This is not about Ronnie Harvey. Let's stop taking it personal. It's about the children who don't have a voice. It's about the people who sit on their front porch every morning and drink their coffee and never really moved outside of Gosport because honestly, they can't navigate outside of Gosport. That's what this is about. This council, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was so pumped about this council and this new administration. That's why I wanted my son to stand there and take the oath with me, because at the end of the day, I'm hoping that he catch this baton and he pick up this One Lake Charles energy. But I'm asking as a council, how can you sit here and go forward knowing that we did not do our due diligence? We elected to do the right things, man. This is what we do. And again, I've said this time and time again, if you misconstrue my tone and my passion for the people who I speak for, I apologize to you. But I'm not saying I'm sorry, because at the end of the day, if I came up here and did anything different, I would not be my authentic self. And Ronnie Harvey Jr., regardless of how you vote tonight, I'm coming back and I'm gonna continue to fight for District 8, because I realize, man, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And at the end of the day, I got the endurance and the stamina to keep going. So if you beat me tonight and you don't vote the way I'm suggesting as the council member of that particular district, you won the race. But I'm telling you right now, we gonna win the marathon. District 8, North Lake Charles, Gosport, and every area in between. I'm gonna continue to fight until the voters say I don't need to be up here no more. So I'm asking you tonight, I'm asking you to vote down the Capital One site, and I still wanna go back and do our due diligence on the Fitz and Ryder Road project. Hey, if it doesn't work, I'll be the first person to stand in front of every citizen in Lake Charles and say, hey, you know what? It doesn't work, take it out. Let's move forward. But one thing we're not gonna do is move forward, and you don't know how I feel, you don't know how my constituents feel, and you don't know how the entire District 8 feel, not just one part of it. Not just the part of people who have businesses in there, but the people who literally cut their teeth in that community and who stayed there and who's gotten passed up time and time again. I want to make sure, and I say this, I'm sorry, Mr. Marks, I'm about to cut it short. But the next fight gonna be, when y'all gonna close the ditches? When y'all gonna fix our roads? When are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do that? The things that we can do. I'm not talking about the things that we can't do from private investments. But at the same time, I don't know about y'all, but we ought to be sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing from a population that we're not even trying to overserve. It's easy to get in my car and go south of Lake Charles, y'all. It's easy to get in my car and go anywhere south of Broad. And I can start to see the visual differences. And it's not the visual difference of the aesthetics of what I see with the eyes. It's the visual differences of what the city administration has done time and time and time again. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of being on the y'all, I can go live in any community I choose to, I promise you. But I choose to stay in North Lake Charles because I'm gonna be the voice, whether I'm up here or not. Check the track record, I've always been an advocate for the community. But I'm asking you for one time, something that we haven't done in years. Get behind a community that's asking you and begging you and pleading. Just do the right thing. I asked y'all for a conversation, man, and y'all told me no. I asked y'all just to have a conversation and y'all told me no. I'm gonna just say this. No matter how it goes tonight, I still gotta come up here and I'm gonna represent my community to the fullest. But I say it with every ounce in me. Fact check the videos, fact check the minutes. I ain't tell one lie tonight. Take it for how you want it. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Look, I appreciate your comments about the article, and I can get as passionate as you can. And the simple fact is that when I was elected, that's when I first learned about this project, and it was told that it was going to be on Fitz and Ryder Road, and it has nothing to do with North Lake Charles or the black community or any of that. I just thought, God, that doesn't, my inexperience, my kids played soccer, so I never played indoor sports, never went to those tournaments. It just sounded like maybe that's not a great location for that. And that in turn caused me, and I probably should have contacted the district councilman regarding that, but I went to the mayor and I said, is that the site we're doing at? Can we look at other sites? And the mayor agreed, hey, well, you know, it is a new administration. Maybe we should look at other sites. And he had some other sites. I think some other people recommended sites. I've said this time and time again. That is how that occurred. I apologize if I was out of bounds and didn't contact the district person that it was originally destined to be. Regarding the appraisal and the vote where we did not give you the opportunity, because we have a city attorney here. We have two city attorneys here, I think, that both gave us information on the appraisal. Now, I'm going to agree with you. Nothing you said was a lie. I remember everything you said, and I don't have notes here to document things, but we asked the attorneys, did we do everything we were supposed to? And their answer was yes. They double-checked, and the answer was yes. I'm going to take those attorneys at their word and say everything was done correctly. I agree with the dates you talked about. And those dates, we asked about it at that meeting. I don't have the minutes here, but somebody said we had to contact the owner before the appraisal was finalized, I think was the word we used. And I think that's why before it was finalized, they contacted the owner, and then we were notified of the finalized value. Okay? You follow me? Or is everybody? So I think that's where we get a confusion at. And I'm not an attorney, but when we ask the attorneys their opinion on things, I'm not going to go behind them and double check. If I can't trust our city attorneys to look into things and give me true answers, then we have some serious problems. When he tells me he checked and this is true, I'm going to trust him. I'm not saying we all should, but that's where I'm at. So when we decided to not look at Fitz and Ryder Road, it was only because I did trust the fact that the appraisal process was done correctly, because we asked the attorneys, and it should be off the table because of the appraised value. That's why whenever I inadvertently voted wrong, to me it didn't matter, because it was off the table anyway, because the appraised value is the appraised value. And the process was done correctly, according to the attorneys. We revoted, and things turned out as they did. And let me say this, and I've said this to a lot of people that I have come up to me and asked about this recreational facility, and I have no experience at this. But we've had some experts come up here. We've had some experts who come from the entity that is probably going to manage this facility, wherever it's located at. That gentleman stood right there and said, this location is the best location for expected success. Period. I heard him say it. It's not my opinion. Nobody should trust my opinion when it comes to an indoor rec facility. Eric Zartler, who's here today, I don't know him that well, but I can see how much sports tourism that man does, and he's brought a lot in town. These are the experts on these facilities. I have to go with what the experts say. Nobody's going to trust a retired sheriff's deputy to make a decision about this when it's on me. I have to go to the experts. And I promise you, I do believe in One Lake Charles. I really, really do. I happen to know Mitch Bush very well. I don't think Mitch is here, but he made a huge investment north of Moling Street on Highway 171. I've never once heard anybody say, thank you, Mitch, for what he did on Highway 171, or whatever you call that section of Highway 14. And I agree, it is an underserved district. But is it underserved by the city of Lake Charles? It is just underserved by local economics. There's a lot of traffic on Highway 171 that goes to Moss Bluff. Everybody that goes to Moss Bluff, unless you cut through Westlake, has to drive on Highway 171. And it should be busy. It should be booming because of the amount of traffic. If we had some traffic counts on Highway 171, I'm sure they're high. Not like Interstate 10, but they're high. And I promise you, Mr. Harvey, we do care. I've had conversations with people that are on my side of this thing, and we do care about all of Lake Charles. But the simple fact is this thing has to be successful, because if it doesn't, if it's not, then we got to take care of this $30-40 million facility. And so we want to give it the best shot for success that we can. That's all I'm saying. I never once said, let's put it on Big Lake Road. I don't think that's where it should be. I don't think it should be in my district. I think if it was closer to 210, which already has some rec facilities, has some restaurants and some hotels and all that kind of stuff, that's where it should be. Unfortunately, the mayor did me a good thing and looked into it. The man wants $8 million for the property. And it's not an LMI and all these other advantages that we can take care of. I promise you, I don't want to make enemies up here. I don't want to make enemies out here. I want the best for Lake Charles, and we don't want to lose this $30 or $40 million shot in the arm that Lake Charles is going to get. Lake Charles is going to get, and it's going to help, because when North Lake Charles and South Lake Charles are part of Lake Charles, and downtown Lake Charles grows, everybody wins. Everybody wins. I have been saying it for years. You drive down Interstate 10 in Winnie, Texas, or almost any little town in Texas, or Iowa, Louisiana. There's more to do on I-10 in Iowa than there is in Lake Charles, and it drives me crazy. There was steamboat bills going one direction and Popeyes the other. That's not in South Lake Charles, and it drives me crazy. Why? This is the most heaviest traveled road in America. I promise you, we care about Lake Charles. What do? We got to keep fighting together to make this work. We got to work together as a team. And I do appreciate your passion. But we're not against you. We are with you. It's just this thing needs to be successful. Otherwise, we sit on another doomed site. And the time thing, it's not us losing to Lafayette, but the success of this thing, from what I understand, listening to the gentleman, we're competing against them for tournaments, which are going to be the successful part of this event center. So I promise you, everyone, I am for One Lake Charles. I'm just listening to what the experts say. Thank you.
Good. Yes, sir. Ms. Fundale.
Well, I agree with Mr. Harvey. He just mentioned, he asked the mayor about whether that was the best site or not. I don't recall this council being informed that we were going to shop for a new site. You know, now he mentioned it to the mayor. Matter of fact, city councilman called me and asked me, I think it ought to be in your district, Mr. Fondale. And I'm saying, wait a minute, that's for North Lake Charles. It was already designated for North Lake Charles. I didn't enter that, and nor did we sit down as a council and say, hey guys, everybody look for a new site, because we don't want North Lake Charles. No, that didn't happen. As a council, we know that didn't happen. But North Lake Charles was the designated site, as Mr. Harvey said. But as a council, we did not say that. We did not have that agreement. You know, and things just popped up. I didn't know where they were coming from, you know. And one day I'm riding and I see for sale signs on the North Lake Charles site. And I'm wondering, well, what happened? And we had the meeting. The previous administration, the agreement went up during the previous administration. The mayor said that they called him and he told them to renew the hold agreement that Mr. Harvey just talked about. but they did not. So the seller don't have all the responsibility on that. Now that deliberately says that the city didn't do. We had some fault in this process going haywire, because we did not renew the hold agreement. And like Mr. Harvey said, even after the appraisal come out, I specifically asked the mayor, are we gonna reach out to the guy? And he said no. And then Mr. Harvey asked again, can we exhaust all efforts for North Lake Charles? And the council voted against this, told him no, absolutely not. So let's not use that, that's no excuse, the appraisal, because we didn't want it there. Bottom line, I'm a part of us. What we agreed to, I inherited regardless, whether I vote for it or not. We did not want it in North Lake Charles. From the beginning, with no reason whatsoever, North Lake Charles should not be the site. He's saying experts. The previous administration had the same experts that we got now. And they said, wow, this is a good site for it, North Lake Charles. Let's send in the application. Same group of people. And said that it will work, Mr. Marks commented, it will become self-sustainable in 5 years. That's what the experts said. It was all until we come along and changed it. We changed this, and we bear that response. I do not believe that downtown site is the best site. We have to compromise too much. It costs the city another $2.9 million. Oh, we own the property, but the citizens paid $2.9 million for it. And we're not gonna recoup that. That's on top of the $30 million. Then we take the garage. We got to redo that. That's got to come out of city funds. That's on top of the $30 million that we got to invest in there. And here we got so many other opportunities, and then the size has got to come down. And size will dictate how profitable it is. The bigger it is, the better. I think Mr. Marks commented that that's what the guys said, that it needed to be a national thing for it to sustain itself. So when you look at business sense, you look at common decency, this is not the way to go. And to tell the people, oh, it's just some guy who too greedy, he wants too much money, that's the reason why it's not. It's a direct effect on those people that live there. You cannot change that. And if we as a council want to do that, then do it, but stand up and accept responsibility for what you decided to do. Thank you.
Is your mic on, Mr. Weather?
Yes, it is. I know we let the option expire, and it's not huge, but I think that we renewed the option before we got the appraisal. Is that correct?
Yes.
So personally, I wouldn't have renewed the option because there weren't people beating down the doors to buy that property. And we didn't lock in a price with that either, and it didn't appraise. And I think we did everything we needed to on that appraisal. We let her law because our attorney said that they did, and they're very competent, not more than competent, they're very good attorneys. So I believe that we followed those rules. So that's just, and it's not to correct, but we did do it before. We did get the second option before we had the appraisal in hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct, right?
Right.
Okay. And I'm not against North Lake Charles. I don't think the Fish and Rider location was a good location, and the council never voted to purchase that property because we didn't know what the cost was going to be. There was a proposed site, and it was submitted, and I assume it was OCD because this is pass-through money from the feds to the state, and we're going to have to submit the tower property to see if they approve that as well, or any other site that would be available, whether it's in North Lake Charles, downtown Lake Charles, or another LMI site within the city. So this is the site that is most currently available. I think that I don't want to downplay the significance of the sports facility, but I can show two facilities that those things are additive. If there's already some amenities there, it's an additional amenity that will enhance that area, but there's not a hotel near Power Center because the sports in of themselves don't generate the activity where you're going to actually build a hotel for that. The Ford Park in Beaumont, it's desolate around that place. There's nothing happening there. So yes, it is a good project. It's going to bring people to Lake Charles. It enhances an area that's already got some amenities. It can't be the starting point for that. Sure, there's, in my opinion, the best place to put it, it's not LMI, would be next to the Power Center. There's already Ward 3 Power Center. It's got outdoor facilities there. If it was, and I think you could, if it was LMI, I think you could make it work there. And theoretically, if you have one child playing soccer, another child playing volleyball, you could walk from one place to the other. You don't have to be in two different places at one time. So, yeah, there's better sites. I never thought that. Now, if it was on Fitzenrider and 171, that's a different discussion. Than it not, but having to go through a neighborhood like Mr. Young said, how McMurray Park is, it can be. I've gone to the baseball tournaments. It can be a nightmare for the residents with all the traffic going through there. There's where Spar is in Sulphur. There's not a. It didn't generate all this commercial development. So, I mean, honestly, I think probably the best use for that Fitzenrider property, and I've stated, is that give some incentive to a residential developer to go in there and build a 9-acre subdivision there with some waterfront property. I think you would bring some household, because what you need to have consumer-driven economic development, you need to have rooftops, and you need to have rooftops with disposable income. And I think all that riverfront on Fitzenrider would be a great residential development that would that over time would generate consumer-driven development. But I think that you could, of course, 171 is a commercial corridor. I think that Moline and Opelousas Street could be good commercial corridors in conjunction with the Enterprise Boulevard project. So I think that the downtown is the best available site that we have currently, and that's why I'm in favor of moving forward.
Is it Mr. Weatherford?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna try to rush through this. First of all, I am for the Fitzenrider site, and I'll say why. When we started this, there's a decorum that goes on along this, and everybody that I touched when they ran for office, I explained that to them. That you don't just go in other people's district without giving courtesy. You don't have to abide by it, but that's the decorum I was taught. So when we started this project, when this new council took these seats, we started looking for other sites from jump. We had 7 sites from jump. Nobody gave Fitzenrider a shot. I asked the question over and over in the meetings. Why is Fitzenrider not a good site? I've heard it several times here tonight. Fitzenrider is not a good site. Why? Why is it not a good site? Mr. Weatherford just gave some valid points about the standalone places. Well, Burton Coliseum stood alone. And look at it now. Ward 3 stood alone for a minute. Look at it now. It took South Lake Charles to get the way it is now almost 20 years. I graduated in 1985. In 1985, we had to drive through the woods to get to the skating rink. And look at it now. You have to start somewhere. The question was brought up, is North Lake Charles really underserved? Drive down the streets. Look at the ditches. Look at the area. It speaks for itself. If you say it's not underserved, just drive to south side town, drive to the east, come to my district. My district is in way better condition than North Lake Charles. So the city has neglected it for years and years and years, and we finna do it again for a once in a lifetime project. Once in a lifetime project that nobody would be talking about were it not for this application right here. This is the application that was sent in May and approved. Approved. And I was told in the meeting that this was the original and it was another one. I told every person that I touched on this council when we ran for these offices, you got to do your research. You got to be able to read. I trust the attorneys implicitly, but they can miss some things too. They can miss some things too. To Mr. Wiesenau's spot, there's a proper process. OCD, I researched it. There's a proper process you have to follow. They did not contact the owner prior to the appraisal. It's no way possible, because on the 19th, me, Mr. Harvey, Mr. Weatherford, Miss Emily, Miss Sharon, Mr. Cardone, we met in a meeting where they told us what the appraisal value was on the 19th. I was in a meeting last week where the city attorney showed me a letter that he communicated with the owner that was dated the 24th. And then I got two more letters that was dated the 23rd and the 24th. It's no way the 24th come before the 19th. I got a certified letter that I sent to all the councilmen that the owner sent, saying the first time I talked to the appraiser was on the 28th of September. I spoke to the appraiser that same morning. I spoke to the appraiser and the owner within 2 minutes apart. I got one on this phone and one on this phone. And I got off the phone and let them talk. And we're saying, in that meeting on the 19th, I asked the mayor, I asked Mr. Cardone, what was the appraisal value? They say 850. I said, how you know? They say, we got preliminary numbers. Well, how you got preliminary numbers? Because they're doing the appraisal. That means the appraisal was done. And the owner had no knowledge of it. That's one fault, that OCD. That is a technicality that can harm this project. If we push this issue, it nulls the appraisal, and we got to start over. So we go back to the fact that from the very beginning, several councilmen asked the mayor, and the mayor just did his job. They wanted to look at other sites. Why though? Why do you want to look at another site if you ain't looked at Fiscal yet? Why do you look at 5 other sites and Capital One not mentioned in any of those sites? Then finally, when we ain't got nowhere else to go, we go to Cap One because we own the property. Nothing's there. But just 2 weeks ago, I sent out an email to all the council members, and I explained to them, I never mentioned anything in my district because of the fact I was riding with Mr. Harvey. This is the way the project came about. This is the way it go, and we give him that respect. These professionals that you're talking about, Visit Lake Charles sat in the meeting with us the last meeting of the last administration, and they was all on board. At Fiscal, they was on board. Come back. We get to the 850, the 950, where it all started. How can we be for something, but at the same time looking at something else? That's like me saying, I love my girlfriend, but I got another one. That's what we were doing to Fiscal. Because since its inception, nobody, with the exception of us 3, stood with Fiscal. Nobody came and said, well, let's go look at the property. Nobody came and said, we asked, let's sit down, because I'm holding conversations with the man on a regular basis, the owner. Matter of fact, the owner comes sit right back there behind the city attorney, and the administration never told us he was in the building. Wow. Go watch the film. I never met the man. I only talked to him through the phone. And he called me, he said, Craig, y'all had him on the appraisal. I said, what are you talking about? He said, because they didn't contact me. I said, well, how you know that? He said, I was in the meeting. Said right back there. I go back and I look at the meeting, he's big as day, and the administration never say, hey, the owner here. But we call him dishonest. We never was told that he lost 50 to 80,000 the first time the city failed on honoring his agreement. So when it came back to do the next one, he said, man, I got to make some money off this time. So he charged us $4,000 for 3 months. And we were told that he jacked the price up. He did, but rightfully so. Just like he put it back on the market for 1.2. The administration said it wasn't interested. What was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? So, 2 weeks ago, I sent out an email, as I said. I said, hey, council members, I never brought this up because of the decorum of the council. I said, but I got a 10-acre piece of property that meets LMI standards in my district that the city owns. Crickets. To this day, crickets. Nobody responded. We're ignoring the fact that we got some private investors that want to put a 200-bed hotel on a site where the city can benefit. They're going to lease the property. They're going to build the center. They're going to lease both properties from the city. So we're going to eventually make all of our money back. And we saying no. We saying no. We talk about one Lake Charles. Why can't we have them both? Why can't we put the sports center on Fiscal or another area of the city if Fiscal is the problem and do the hotel as well? We can have them both. We say no. We want one. When I came to y'all 2 meetings ago, and I told you what OCD said, and the administration met with OCD, and OCD said we can't keep the money. So I asked the administration, how do we get around that? They said, well, we operate like nonprofits. It's simple accounting. That's what they told me. That's what it is. So they've come up with a way that we can actually make it work and keep some of the money. But we got to give some of that, the majority of that money back. It's nowhere around that. It's nowhere around that. We talked about before, we keep talking about Lafayette, losing to Lafayette. And I too, like Mr. Young, don't want to keep losing. But we lose because we preach one thing and do another. We lost the all because a small group of people decided they want for themselves and not the greater good. And that's what we're doing right now. I keep hearing about we can walk downtown, we can walk here, we can do that, we can do this. And we talk about money and building downtown, and we got a 200-bed hotel ready to come. Judge Thibodeau says ready to go tomorrow to make money off of it. We just said, see, the difference is the site on the sports complex on Capital One and the sports complex on Fiscal or any other place in the district, in the city, they go by two different means. One is a catalyst. That's what the LMI, it's a catalyst. Regardless of how all these things, how long it takes, it's a catalyst. On Fiscal it's meant to be a catalyst. On Fiscal we're looking at a grab bag. I mean, on Capital One, everybody's mind is on the grab bag now. We finna make all this money. I watched the faces when I repeated what OCD said. And it was what? We can't keep the money? We finna make one of the biggest mistakes in Lake Charles history if we put that sports complex on that Capital One site. Because 20 years from now, when it's just sitting there, it'll be just like the Capital One site was when the hurricane hit it. Might be a good building, but the report that Father Mancuso did shows we're gonna be paying a little while. All these businesses talking about they want to thrive. What better way to thrive than a hotel that's gonna attract people? You don't need a reason to stop to a hotel other than rest. People don't drive down I-10 and look at a sports facility and say, oh, it's a sports facility. Let me stop off. We got an example of that with Port Wonder. One of the critiques that the mayor had when he ran was Port Wonder. It was improper. to put that there in the manner that which they did it. The building good, if we put some other things in there, it'll be fine. But we finna create another Port Wonder. You have to be going there to get off the highway. It's not like Steamboat Bills where you're hungry. Oh, look, Steamboat Bills, they sell fish. It's a destination site. Lafayette is not even putting it on the main drag. Lafayette is not even putting it in an area that eat up their opportunity zones. But we can have them both. And we saying, nope, well, one without the other. I listened to Judge when he talked about putting the hotel, 3 different sites on the Civic Center grounds. We overlooking the fact we building a new judicial system, and I promise you, they're gonna need the Civic Center parking lot. They're gonna have to come to the city to rent that parking space because it's not gonna be enough parking. We got a lot of things going on. It's a prime example right now. Lake Charles can thrive. We can do something that we never done before. I look at 18th Street and Lake Street. The city put $40 million into that low-income housing, public-private monies to build it up, to build up an area. We're widening Sallier Street for that area. We built a bridge that they say is to transport to go to the port back and forth. It ain't that many trucks going to the port that we need a $100 million bridge. So we built a bridge to transport traffic from Nelson Road and dump it on Sallier Street without any consideration of those houses around there. Go drive down there and see how many signs are popping up for sale. Because a small group of thinkers decides for the whole body. And that's why we haven't grown. That's why we continue to fall. I listened to Mr. Bilbo say, there's no other sites. Or there's nothing we can do. It is something we can do. We got an account at the Community Foundation with $300,000 in it or more that's supposed to be spent on public, private parks and recreation. That's money we can add. But we're willing to say we're going to spend money on a garage, like Mr. Fundell said, out of our own pocket. And I was told that we would lease it to the building. Well, we own them both. We own them both. We have been misunderstood. We have been misled to some degree, whether it's on our own thinking or communication. There has been a serious breakdown. Capital One site should be the very last site we use for something like this. The very last site. Not when I got 2 low to moderate income census tracts in my district. Mr. Harvey got a low to moderate income tract in his district. We know when we're talking about Fiscal Road, we're not talking about the same low to moderate low to moderate income census tract. We're not. It just happens to benefit geographically being in the same area. But ain't nothing poor about Lakeshore Drive. Ain't nothing poor about downtown. We know this. So we fooling ourselves when we think we can put it there because it fits low to moderate. That's just wiggle. We're just moving stuff around, semantics. We're killing a community willfully. Willfully, because we got $30 million that we were blessed with due to other people's mishaps. That money that we getting comes out of a pot that's created to help low to moderate income areas like Fitzgerald Road. And then when I asked about putting the Fifth Avenue site on there, everybody just went by. When Capital One hasn't even been sent in. We can send 10 in at one time. It's going to take the same to process it. Why not put ourselves in a position where we can have more than one choice? We send Cap One in. For some reason it don't pass. We come back again. If it fits, send it. We need to sit down with that owner of the Fitzgerald site. Who knows? But like Mr. Harvey said, we didn't give him a chance. We didn't give him a chance. The same professionals that you talked about, Mr. Vizano, they set meetings with us. and said it was good. We say it's not about black and white. We say it's not about rich or poor, but it is. It's about power. You got the power to do something and to take something from somebody and nobody can say it. That's what the power of 4 votes is. But if you don't do your research, you can detach yourself from this decision. And if you can detach yourself from this decision, it means nothing to you. I can vote yes or no because it don't mean nothing to me. But if you serving in these seats, whether it's the mayor, the administration, or these council members, if you don't care, you don't need to be in these seats. If you don't love people, you don't need to be in this seat. And we crazy if we saying that we don't have a part of our city that has been neglected. We have for generations after generations after generations. And I know it's true because I didn't go south of town. I didn't go to McNeese until I was a senior. That's the first time I went to the college in my city. Because my environment didn't allow me to go that way. And it's the same thing happening. We talking about downtown is central. It's not central. Got kids in North Lake Charles never made it to downtown. They got some people in South Lake Charles never been to North Lake Charles. It's 15 minutes in any direction you go. So distance ain't it. Answer the question. Why not Fitzgerald? What is wrong with it? That's some personal things there that we have to deal with. Some things we need to ask God to control our actions and our minds and love one another. We keep talking with, it ain't no one Lake Charles. It don't exist. It don't exist. It might be a dream, but until we take the actions to make it a one Lake Charles, we can't be selective. We can't be one Lake Charles when we want to get elected. And when we get in these offices, we don't do what we say we was going to do. The only organization that stepped up to the plate from the beginning is Ward 3. Ward 3 said, I'll give you $5 million off back because it's a good project. They didn't say where you put it. And in turn, the city built a swimming pool for Ward 3. That's that swimming pool you see in North Lake Charles. That's working together. But every time we come in here and it involves north of 210, it's a pool. We taking something or we not giving something. It's never just, hey, let's put it here. We got to argue about streets. We got to argue about ditches. We got to argue about houses being torn down. We got to argue about all of those things. Why? We've been given $30 million. It was given to us per this application with Fitzgerald on it. And now we want to shift it. And it, like Mr. Fundell say, it'd be different if we didn't have no other options. We got another option, just was explained right there. 60 million. 200 rooms. 160 to another. The mayor told me it'd be different, Craig, if we had another option. We got another option. It's on record. We got a contract with them. Now, we willing to let them go dig up the Civic Center because it's going to be built somewhere. Then we're going to have a problem at the Civic Center. And if we have learned nothing else, we can't go back and undo the past. We can't. Once these decisions are made, once we put that building up, that building is there. Right, wrong, or indifferent, if we got to come out of our pocket $1 million a year, it's there. Hotels going to eat. Restaurants going to eat. But taxpayer dollars going to suffer. Because we're going to have to pay for this. And I'm telling you, you might not believe it, I'm not emotionally attached. I love what I do. Next week, I might be fighting for South Lake Charles, if it's the right thing, or east, or west. But to sit here, to my fellow councilmen, I'm talking to you. Because all the mayor does is present it to us, come up with the plan, give us a vision. It's up to us to vote on it. And if y'all sitting here saying that Fitzgerald is not the best site, if y'all say the appraisal is the issue, well, ask yourself, have you done everything with the appraisal? We ain't even visited the fact, okay, what if he want 1.2 and we can only give him 850? Where can we get the rest of the money? We ain't even talked about that. The appraisal came, we just can't do it. That's not right. I don't mind doing nothing if we exhausted all the remedies. If we can get to a point to where Mr. Bilbo say, we done everything we can do, then yeah, let's move. But because you tired of talking about it, because we've been staying in the meetings too long, this is not the job for you. We've been arguing about a apartment complex on the corner of Moreland and 171 for 4 or 5 years. I'm Mr. Weatherford, something about that, don't? We still talking about that. Every year it comes up. That's the job. But to sit here and say that we've done everything we can do with Fisher-Rider, and to Mr. Bilbo's point, this is about Fisher-Rider. You can't vote on this until you resolve Fisher-Rider. You can vote on it. All it takes is 4 votes. And from the way it sounds, they got 4 votes. Ben had 4 votes. The day they start considering other sites without communication, they had the 4 votes. But I'm telling you, as God is my witness, things have a way of working themselves out and working themselves back around. And we're going to revisit this again. Maybe 5 years from now, maybe another administration. We're going to revisit it. And hopefully it's because of a plus. And it won't be because we got an eyesore or we got a building that's killing us with money in an area that it wasn't intended for. Or we done lost a hotel that everybody been talking. We need a hotel. We need a hotel. We got it. We got the potential to hit us in both arms with a sports complex and a hotel. But we so caught up and said, nope, we ain't putting it over there. And we willing to sacrifice the hotel just not to put the sports complex over there. That's what it is. That's the bottom line. So I'm gonna ask, because they say closed mouths don't get fed. I'm asking my council members to vote the Capital One Tower down. It's not appropriate. We're gonna lose money on it. It's gonna hit us in the pocket down the road. We taking a valuable piece of property. If they want downtown to survive, you ought to want that hotel. You ought to want that hotel. The mayor talked about potentially, one of his visions was to put a shuttle to the casinos from downtown. He even talked about a tram car. These things are not impossible, but you got to put the pieces. We playing chess, we're not playing checkers. To put that sports facility right there, and like Mr. Fundell said, if we don't do it to the right specs, it's just a workout gym. It's a $30 million workout gym. The studies that the Visit Lake Charles did in 2022 and 2023 stated that it had to be a certain size to attract tournaments. And if we don't do that, if for any reason we can't get to that spec, we lose. We lose. And not to mention, I don't care what nobody say. I read this with my own eyes and talked to the people with my own eyes. We got to send some of that money back. Now, how we gonna keep some? I don't know. But we got to send some of that money back. That's how we was able to get it.
And Mr. President, when you finish, I would like to address the council about this, because it's the administration's recommendation. So I really would like to lay out what exactly, how we arrived to this point and what the implications are.
Can I make a per Judge Thibodeau, it's not an either or. They want to build a hotel either potentially at the site, at the Capital One site or the tower site, or at the Civic Center grounds. And there is no contract. There is no signed cooperative endeavor agreement for the hotel. So they can't start tomorrow because there's no agreement in place.
Well, but you can put a pre in place.
Oh, no, we can't. Oh, no. And the council would have to vote on that. And I don't know whether they've acquired, it's probably a little premature for financing, but there's a long way to go on the hotel project. And it's not, and it's no one's fault. That's just the reality. Is very, very, very difficult.
And that's the reality.
Things.
That's what we've been doing. We say it takes too long, so we're gonna make a move. We've been sitting on that property for however long. When we tore it down on the last administration, everybody say we was crazy, but we would have ate that property. It would still be sitting there now. But we don't have no patience in Lake Charles. It got to be done now. Let's go on, move it. Makes sense now. You're talking about something that's worth the time to maximize it. I'm done with it.
May I address the council?
Yes, you can.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to go up here because I think better on my feet. Mr. President, the members of the City Council, this administration came into power, into governance with a vision of One Lake Charles. That's not forgotten. This was not an easy decision to make this recommendation. Mr. Harvey, I served as a councilman for 2 terms on District A. I know exactly what you're saying. And I did a lot of work in District A, and I can tell you, as the mayor of this city, I'm going to continue doing that work because District A deserves, but all the districts deserve. But I think our city is going to be as strong as it can be when it does work together as One Lake Charles. So I'd like to get to how we got to this recommendation in the first place. I can't speak for the previous administration. We took office July 1st. When we came in, before I came into office, I was told that there was an option that needed to be exercised on the Fitz and Ryder's property. I said, yes, please go ahead and pay the $25,000 and get that done. I wasn't in office yet, so nothing. I come into office and we've got these projects sitting out there, and I'm working through these projects. It wasn't until I'm riding with Mr. Fondell that we're told that that property is for sale. Now, I will tell you, the projects that were submitted, those were all proposed sites. There was nothing in place saying that it had to go to this place or that place. Some of these projects have already moved from different sites. Some of them may still wind up moving. The key is that the projects came in, they were for disaster recovery, and let's make no mistake, this is not about a sports complex. This is about a resiliency hub. This city's The federal government gave this city monies to place certain strategic resiliency hubs throughout the city to help with recovery. This place, as was the Hope Center, as were other places, ought to be built to withstand 140 miles an hour wind storms, have potable water, independent power. They're supposed to be staging places for recovery of our community because after Laura and Delta, 5 years later, we were finally just getting around the corner on that. So that's the primary focus of these facilities. That is the primary focus of my administration, is to make sure that all of Lake Charles recovers, because it's not if we're going to get here again, it's when. But on blue skies, these are to operate different ways. This one as a multi-sports complex. Others to do services for financial literacy. So when I came into office, I'm looking at these projects, and I met with the Office of Community Development. They came into town because they have some serious concerns. The state received $2.1 billion for Hurricanes Laura, Hurricane Delta, and Hurricane Ida. This project is is the largest allocation that's out there, and they have some serious concerns. They're concerned about the time period because this money has to be spent and disbursed by August of 2027. And the state is concerned because they are the actual grantee. The federal government grants them the money. They're responsible for this money. If that money is not allocated and accounted for, they have to pay that back. Just like the city on some of these projects, we have a time period where this money, if we don't do these projects, we have to pay the money back. If buildings are built, they don't want the building, they want the money. The taxpayers of Lake Charles will not be on the hook for $48 million to the federal government. We are going to spend this money. We're going to put these resiliency hubs in, and we are going to recover as a community and continue to grow. But let's talk about the Fitz and Ryder site. I stay right down the street from Fitz and Ryder. I stay behind Conbury Fondell Elementary School. I fought for District 8 the whole time I was in office. Enterprise Boulevard extension started with me, and it's going to finish with this administration. Riverside Park started with me because I wanted to show people that the northern part of Lake Charles is perhaps the most beautiful area of the city. And I wanted them to meet the people, to see the people that I grew up with when I went to Washington High School and now Washington Marion, that we are noble, good people who have the same beliefs, the same dreams as everybody else. So I am going to advocate for One Lake Charles. I'm not going to go for dividing the city. I'm not going to go for saying we're going to take something from one place, put it to another. But for Fitz and Ryder Road, that site was projected proposed site. It was never approved. I didn't realize, I thought, once I said go ahead and pay the option, that was done, so I could just move on to work other things. But at the same time, understand, the application did not say District A. It didn't say District B. It said whatever comes in has to service low and moderate income communities. Low and moderate income, and I checked it, it's not a geographic term, it is a socioeconomic term. We have low and moderate income people all throughout our city. You go to the Greenwich Terrace, you go to the Village, you go down Fifth Avenue, you've got the same people struggling with the same economic concerns, the same hopes and aspirations. And my duty as the mayor is to take care of all of them. And I'm gonna get to a place where we can all take care of ourselves. But when I saw the size and scope of that project, most city council projects use $2-3 million range. But when you see a $30 million project, that's a city project. That is a citywide project, the application said it was for the cities. It's disaster recovery funds. So I looked up what this meant. What was the objectives of these funds? It had 3 objectives. It had to benefit low and moderate income persons, not communities, persons. It says it had to prevent or eliminate slums or blight. As I recall, the Capital One building was destroyed because it was a blight on our city. The third thing, and this is the most important, it says that it has to meet other community development needs having a particular urgency because existing conditions pose a serious and immediate threat to the health or welfare of the community, and other financial resources are not available to meet such needs. A resiliency hub, forget the sports center. A resiliency hub is a community development need that is of particular urgency because if you look at what's happening in Jamaica right now, they're being hit with a Category 5 storm. And existing conditions pose a serious and immediate threat. Our Gulf of Mexico is warm. We are in the throes of major hurricanes. We are the center of LNG. We have a lot to protect here. And it's a threat to the health or welfare of the community. Now, as I recall, when Hurricanes Laura and Delta came through, as did Hurricanes Rita and Katrina, they didn't pick a particular neighborhood. They didn't pick a particular age group, particular socioeconomic group. They hit all of us. This facility is between 125 and 140,000 square feet. It is a major hub. The event center, both times in both hurricanes failed. The roofs caved in. We need a major resiliency hub. At the Fitzenrider site, the Hope Center, which was passed by this council 7-0, is a resiliency hub. It's right down the street. Why would you put 2 in the same place? But that's beside the point. The owners, the only time I found out about this was, I said, you know what, this resiliency hub needs to be near I-10 or 210 because those are the places when a storm hits, those are your access points. So I started looking at sites. I thought the Enterprise Boulevard to Kirkman Street area of I-10 was a good site. Other councilmen, and I don't know how the communication failed, but other councilmen said, look here, look there. As an administrator, the mayor of the city, I'm gonna do what you wish. I'm gonna go out there and look at these different areas. And I did. But I was riding around with Mr. Fondell, showing him the Enterprise, the Kirkman Street site, and then the next day he told me the Fitzenrider site has a for sale sign on it. That's the first time I found out that that option had not been renewed. It wasn't because of my administration, it was not renewed. And I told you guys about that, and you said, go back and see about getting that site back on. I went to the owner. The owner said that would have cost $25,000, but it was never paid to me. It was the first $25,000 was never paid to this owner. Now he was very upset. He said, I'm losing money, $4,000 a month. I'm not going to give you this kind of option again. You're going to pay me $37,000. And you know what we did? We paid it. But then he also told me my price is $1.2 million. It was supposed to be $950,000. So yes, I went and signed and paid $37,000 for that site. But I also, and this is from me, have been a council member. The thing that should have been done when y'all were told that Fitzenrider was the site, an appraisal should have been immediately ordered. So that's what I did. I ordered an appraisal because I said, you know what, everybody can wish pie in the sky, but guess what? We can only pay the appraised value. That should have been done back then. That wasn't. The option should have been exercised back then. That wasn't. So I went in and cleaned up all of these things because guess what? I wanted to make sure that Fitz and Ryder site was not taken off. Matter of fact, my plans were already in place. Fitz and Ryder would have been approved. I was going to take the Enterprise extension, and instead of starting it where it stops already, I would have started it from MLK Highway 171 to bring that road into the Fitz and Ryder site so that it would have the type of traffic that it could accommodate. We didn't get that choice. So when we did get the preliminary appraisal, we were waiting for the appraisal as was everyone else. The appraiser called us and said, yeah, and it's not 850, it said it appraised for 830,000. Well, we immediately told everyone about that, but they didn't put the appraisal back together yet. The law says that you contact the owner of the property 5 days before your final appraisal. And the reason why they do that is because maybe the appraiser missed something. Look, I'm looking at your property, it's worth 830,000. Oh, wait, we've got minerals under here. We've got all rights. We've got something else that's going on that you didn't know about. That's why you contact the owner. That's not going to change the actual appraisal unless they have something that shows that property has something unique about it. Then that property is not based on what he thinks, is based on comparable sites that they're evaluating. So they came in at the price of 830,000. But we did send the owner a notification by email. Told him, look, we're appraising your property. Unless there's something we missed, we want you to come out here. The owner immediately checked, yes, acknowledged that he received it, and wrote back and said I would come out there and meet. And so that was done. That was done 5 days before the final appraisal. So nothing was done untoward with this appraisal. We did everything by the law. I've been practicing law for 33 years, gentlemen. I know how to cross T's and dot I's. And I will take care of our community because I'm not going to let anybody shortchange us. We started looking at other sites. And each site, we looked at 8 sites in total. Each site had its own failings. We just couldn't make it by August of 2027. So we did go out, and I contacted Office of Community Development because I said, look, we may have a problem meeting these deadlines. We may need an extension of time because I'm not going to forfeit $30 million. If I had to give up this sports complex, I would move that $30 million somewhere else. I'm not giving that back to the federal government. They came in. Their team came in. They brought a team of people in. They came and spent the whole morning on the 10th floor with me. We went through all the different scenarios. And look, this sports center, this is not the only project that's out there. There's a $5.2 million resiliency hub that's scheduled to go out by Chenault. The Hope Center has a hub. All of these hubs are being done in place. All of this money is being done. We've got all kind of projects going on. We went through those. But we looked out the window and showed them this is where the Capital One site is. They all looked at it and said, that's fine. And it fits within the PMI, poor to moderate income, because you do have needy people out there. You have the elderly high rise. You got 8 stories of low income people. You've got the Woodring apartments. That is subsidized housing. A lot of people out there, some are market rate, some are subsidized. That is the gateway to the rest of the area. I know that because when I represented District A, I looked at District A the same way that you guys do, but I looked at it as its own city. I think District A is a city. It's the downtown, it's the lakefront. It's got these assets. Downtown, lakefront, I-10, Highway 171. The reason why I put the Enterprise extension in, because that riverside is valuable property that's undeveloped that could be developed to bring that community back. And I'm going to finish that roadway because the only time it stopped was when I got off the council, and it's been sitting there, and I'm going to finish it. I'm going to do it right, and it's going to bring this community back. I'm not going to forsake my community. I grew up there. I grew up on Adams Street. I've been living in North Lake Charles all my life. I'm going to die in North Lake Charles, and if my wife let me, they'll bury me on that island, but she said that's going to be too spooky, so I can't do that. But we did. Now, after all of this came down to appraisal, I did contact the owner, and the owner was here for that 5-hour meeting. He sat right back there, but he wasn't here to negotiate. He said, my price is $1.2 million. And you know why he said that? He said, because y'all may not be able to pay that. I will get $1.2 million for this property, and he will. And I can tell you, as soon as the Enterprise extension is in there, he's going to have people coming at him all kind of ways to get that property. So I respect him because he's a businessman. I told him, I said, well, you know, what about the 950? And basically he said it's 1.2 million. He sat here not to try to negotiate. He sat here to make sure they didn't get thrown under the bus. So they had a gentleman came up here and started talking about the owning and called them snakes, and I corrected him. I said, look, anybody trying to do business in our city is not a snake. So I don't blame them. I mean, the true price of a property is what somebody's willing to pay you for it. And it's just unfortunately the city can only pay the appraised value. That's it. But he told me he wasn't going to negotiate. He told me that personally. And I did that as a courtesy because I didn't want to leave that T uncrossed or that I undotted. This, you know, we have a garage on this property. The only reason why this property came up was when one property after another got eliminated. Then we had to start looking at properties that the city owned because now we're in an urgent situation. And look, I understand that $2.9 million was paid for that Capital One site. I was against that when I was campaigning. But guess what? I inherited it. But I will tell you, 140,000 square foot facility, if somebody else has a $30 to $40 million project they want to put on that site, I'll sell that property to them in a heartbeat. But that's not happening. That's not happening because it hadn't happened. I was in that building for 15 years. That site and all the land around it stayed exactly the way it was. And with all due respect to the hotel owners, they weren't coming in to get that property. They wanted me to give it to them. And I said, I'm not going to do that. But they also wanted $15 million that this city council, previous city council had authorized to put in the hotel. And I said, that $15 million was supposed to be to subsidize and fix up existing city facilities. But if that facility is not touching our event center, that's a subsidy. I'm not going to subsidize a private business because it's unfair to the other hotel owners who've had to go out there and put skin in their game. So has nothing to do with trying to pick winners or losers. It's just being a good steward of the taxpayer's dollar. I put this recommendation together because the next thing that I need y'all to know about me is that I believe in investing money. I believe in investing where it's going to give us a return on our investment. A sports complex is going to start a sports tourism industry. And I can tell you, Mr. Fondale, that building is not going to be downsized. That site fits 8 basketball courts. That can convert into 16 volleyball courts. That can convert into pickleball courts.
24.
It is more than adequate. The only reason why these other sites required more land was because they needed parking. But we've got a parking garage. And this parking garage, unlike the other one that I saw how much was spent on that, I'm not spending that kind of money on a garage. This is a concrete garage that's going to be fixed for about $1 million. But what the plan is to take that garage and not put it as part of the sports complex. Let the sports complex be built with federal money because, like you said, there's a limitation on program income. But like I said, it is an accounting issue. I can rent this garage to that sports complex, and they can pay for all the repairs to upgrade that garage. That's how you keep the books going. Nonprofits, people think nonprofits don't make money. Nonprofits make a lot of money, but the only thing is, accounting-wise, they have to zero out at the end of the year. And that's how this is going to be. And whatever monies we have, I'm going to put those in the programs because I can see low and moderate income kids from all over the city coming in here to this sports complex and playing league ball and reg ball where they don't have to pay for uniforms. They don't have to pay for any type of fees. They can just come because they are the citizens of Lake Charles. Goodness, you go to Spar in Sulphur or in Westlake, if you're not from those cities, you got to pay money to go in there. So this is going to be for us. And we're going to put the programs in. I'm going to put things in. The one thing that kept me up one night was there was a 16-year-old that went to a party at university and didn't make it home that night. And I realized right there that we need some safe places for our children to come in. They shouldn't have to go rent an Airbnb and then the whole world learns about it on social media and comes there, and now you got to worry whether your child is getting home that night. I can put these children in a safe environment in this rec center. I can put them in there. I can have the metal detectors, I can have the clear bag policy. If somebody's acting the fool in my garage, I can have the police go out there and remove them forcibly if necessary. But those kids are gonna make it home, because the kids that are teenagers from 12 years old to 19, when we had our teen camps, they all told me, Mr. Marshall, there's nothing for us here. Nothing for us here. So we have resiliency hubs, yes, but we're gonna put together something that's gonna be beneficial to the entirety of the community. And the northern part of Lake Charles will not be forsaken. It is not. We are gonna finish enterprise extension. We are already putting together the ordinance that's gonna come before this council to extend that whole economic development district down that enterprise corridor, because that is the game changer. When I came into the council, that we didn't just put a road out there, and Mr. Weatherford can tell you, we put together a whole development plan that was really a redevelopment plan for the entirety of the northern part of Lake Charles. But now it's not just the northern part of Lake Charles. I'm worried about the Terrace now. I'm worried about the Village. I'm worried about Oak Park. I'm worried about places in South Lake Charles. I mean, we have a special opportunity to do something, and for me to build one Lake Charles, I can't leave anybody behind, and I will not leave anybody behind. And I'm gonna work with each and every one of you, the 7 of you. But tonight, this administration, this mayor, has put a resolution that has been pending for 6 weeks before this council. On your agenda meetings, a regular citizen can walk up and ask for something put on the agenda and it's voted on the next week. I'm asking for this institution of the city council to respect the office of the mayor and vote on this resolution tonight. And look, it passes, we move forward. We move forward tomorrow. If it doesn't, tell us your sites. We're gonna go continue working those sites. But at that point, that $30 million becomes your responsibility, because I will have done my duty to make a recommendation that we keep this money in this community, and I've laid out the plan on how that one facility is gonna benefit not just the downtown, not just the lower moderate income community, but it's gonna be a catalyst for growth, because Judge Thibodeau, a sports complex with sports tourism is gonna fill up your hotel, and you're gonna have a demand. That's the economics of what I do, what I did in business. That's the economics of what I'm gonna do as mayor. So we are gonna build one Lake Charles, one brick at a time, and we're not gonna forsake anybody. Please vote on this, and I ask you that you please vote it one way or the other, however your conscience is, but vote and give this office of mayor the respect and dignity that it deserves for having done this amount of work to get us to this point. Thank you.
I don't have a question, Mayor. Thank you for your comments, but I do want to make a statement. Oh, yeah, man. And I'm only speaking on what I'm speaking on, which is I only presented on one specific area. Can you honestly say we've done everything in our due diligence with the appraisal?
I've done everything we could with the appraisal. I mean, we did the timing. We invited the owner. I talked to the owner. He was here that night, and he didn't want to be announced because he wasn't here. He didn't want to even have the pressure of trying to negotiate. He said his price was his price.
Oh, okay. And respectfully, I hear what you're saying. Can I know why we never embraced Fitz and Ryder? Like, it was always just resistance. Like, I've never gotten we pushing forward, we trying to make this work. Mr. Mark said something I actually was going to withhold, but since he put it out for the record, we have other opportunities and other monies that we can use. Do you feel like we exhausted everything? Like with the community foundation, that $300,000 that's there that could be used for that particular type of project. We can use that $300,000 to go towards the Fitz and Ryder Road project.
That still doesn't change if the city cannot pay out of city funds more than the appraised value.
And I understand that.
Right.
But did we exhaust everything as far as like partnerships, anything? Did we look at other that's all I'm asking. Did we never, to me, and it's just my opinion, I'm only 1/7 of it. I just don't feel like we ever embraced this location. That's just my take.
I did embrace the location, but I didn't. I'm not one to put all my eggs in one basket.
I fully understand.
I think when enterprise extension goes through that area, you're going to be surprised at how quickly that area is going to develop.
And I'm not going to be surprised, because I want to make sure we put this for the record too. I'm glad you said enterprise, because the funding for enterprise is ready to go too. That was secured during the previous administration, so we're ready to go. I agree that. I hope that it does finish on your watch.
Putting that down early next year.
I agree. But then you made the comment and you said why would you put two projects that close to each other? Like when you spoke about the Hope Center project and this project. That's why I'm asking, did we ever embrace the Fitz and Ryder Road? Because you stated, why would I put two projects right next to each other? Why wouldn't you?
I made that as a comment, but I can tell you, Fitz and Ryder for me became, when that guy told me his price was 1.2 million, I already knew. I said, we got all in appraisal. I just don't think this I stayed back there. I know the property values. I knew that he was gonna struggle with the appraisal. So the fact that we were gonna try to put two resiliency hubs close by each other, that's just line up as to. But I just wanted to focus on that. This is not just a sports complex. That this is gonna be a major hub of recovery when we go through adverse events, and it's strategically important that we put those in places where they can be benefited by the entirety of the community and the population of the city.
I've got two statements, Mayor. One, you said that there was never a site designated for this, correct?
It was a proposed site. It was not. There was nothing in the that I saw that said this project has to go on Fitz and Ryder or else.
But you also said that you've been a lawyer for 33 years.
I have
When
been.
this application was sent in, it reads, street, north of Fitz and Ryder Road, south of Calcasieu River, between Riverside Park Complex and Conbury Fundy Elementary. Project, location, and type. That's on the application.
That's a proposed site.
Okay, but it was done.
It's a proposal.
Okay.
You go through that. There's all kind of sites proposing there. Some of them aren't even viable
Let me ask you
anymore.
something. If we didn't get this approval, will we have that money?
If the project wasn't approved, no, we would not get the money.
Could you have sent this project in without a location?
No, you could have sent it in with multiple locations.
Okay, but why we chose that location?
Well, I don't know. That wasn't my
But
administration.
that's the point.
But Mr. Marks, understand, if my administration, if I'm telling you, look, I want to submit a project site for you, by the time I tell you that, I would have done those things. I would have gotten that appraisal. I wouldn't have told you something that I wasn't sure in place. I mean, I will cross those T's and dot those I's. Why that didn't happen on this one, that's a question for another person.
Well, but we could sit here and say what we would have done hindsight. Okay, I copied you on the email about the area on Fifth Avenue, the low to moderate income area.
Right.
Can we send that in with the Cap One site?
Here's the only I'm asking. Let's vote on this resolution.
Okay, but what,
If this resolution does not pass and you want to submit that, yeah, we can do that.
let me ask you something, Mayor. It's gonna take the same amount of time whether we send one in or two in.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now, the Office of Community Development, they are very, very concerned about where we are.
And I do. And I know, and I'm not fearing losing the money. I'm not gonna put that out there to people so we can rush. What I am saying is, my problem with due process is, a couple of council members got together with you and suggested other sites.
Right.
It didn't go to other council members.
If y'all would have told me to go look outside, I would have gone look at it.
We can say that in hindsight. I'm just simply telling you what happened.
Y'all locked in, you guys locked in on Fitz and Ryder. That was Fitz and Ryder or bust.
No, it wasn't Fisher Rider or Bus. Is if you come to me with the projects, all these projects, we talked to you about Second Harvest, 14 other projects, right?
Yeah.
When you said that these projects are gonna take place as they're gonna take place, we go with it.
But when I talked to you guys at the very beginning, I thought the resiliency hub should have been by SWLA Center for Health Services. So I was always looking at strategically where do we place all these
Okay, but
different
that
sites.
goes back to what Mr. Harvey's saying. Why was it always another option?
Because this type of strategic disaster recovery money is not dedicated to a district, it's dedicated to the benefit of the citizens of the city.
Okay. Well,
I'm the mayor for the city, so I'm thinking the bigger picture than the parochial. Now, I deal with each of you because you have 7 districts. You each speak for roughly about 12 to 15,000 people. You are the voice of those people. But when it comes down to the benefit and welfare of the city, my fiduciary responsibility is to do what's best for all of the citizens of the city.
Exactly. I agree. Now, let me ask you this and I'll close. Are you sure that the money in the community foundation is city funds?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So if it's possible that those funds can be used, that can compensate the Fitzgerald side.
Mr. Marks, we have a
Asking
site.
the question.
We have a site for free. I'm not spending 1.2
Okay.
million when we have a free site.
Okay, man.
I want to ask him a question. I want to ask you, did I call you about any sites in Lake Charles?
No, I told you about some of the sites, and you told me, well, look at the Kroger site.
And I said if it's not to move out of District A,
Right.
let's not be concerned about it.
That's
But
right.
I'm really concerned about District C,
Right.
but let's not move it out of District A.
And I think each of the councilmen told me that. They said, look, if Fitzenreiter is fine, that's fine, but also look at this just in case.
Okay, now,
And that's prudent. I
actually,
thought that was
another
good.
question. When I first came in, we all met, and for the Resiliency Hub for Reverend Talbot and Greater St. Mary Church, it was said to us that it was urgency.
Right.
We couldn't wait. We had to get it done.
Right.
And then the next thing came, it was for the North Economic Division.
North Lake Charles Economic Development.
We had to get it done. We was on a time frame. It had to get done.
Yeah.
All right, but now all of a sudden, this $30 million gym is not. We're not in a hurry. We got time to go
Well,
meet.
who told you that,
This
Mr.
one is
Bilbo?
more credible.
Who
What's
told
more
you that all of those things was in
You.
urgency? No, couldn't have
You
been.
told me.
No,
You
couldn't-
said, Bilbo, we got to vote this. We can't wait because it was week one.
Okay.
It was week one. I said, Craig, why are we voting on week one
Okay.
when we don't know nothing about the rules? And you told me, you said, Bilbo, this is necessity. We need to get this done right now or we may lose it. We had to. It could change by next month, by the time we meet. And I said, well, cool, Craig. I said, cool. Well, if you tell me it's a necessity, let's vote on it.
Necessity is not timeline because, hold on.
Uh-huh.
When this started, if you had been paying attention,
I always pay
the
attention.
the mayor came up and said that he didn't want to do this project,
Which project?
the Hope Center.
Did not say that. No.
Mr. President, can I call the question, please?
Go ahead.
Call the
I'd like
question.
to, I'd like to make, I just want to make sure that it's clear that the project going on the Cap One site or the tower site is not going to shrink the site, the project.
No.
It's going to be regional. I'm not sure it's going to be a national facility. It's going to be a regional
No, it's going to be a
facility.
national, it's going to be.
In size and scope.
Yeah, it's going to be in size and scope for national tournaments.
So,
The building itself requires just over 3.5 acres to build. Everything else is parking lot. The Capital One site is a little more than 4 acres.
Right.
It can accommodate it.
yeah.
Where does the funding come from to do the garage up front?
The garage comes from the city, but when you bought the property, the city was gonna have to do it anyway, but those funds can be expensed back into the sports facility.
So you can take it out on the front end.
I'm not gonna use if I use federal monies on that garage, then that garage has the same project income limitations that the
So that's what
facility's
I'm
gonna
asking.
have.
So where do we get the money to do the repairs on the garage while we're building the building?
But we've got the money.
We got the money, we would fund it, and we would lease it back in, as a note and be paid back.
So we can lease to ourselves.
Yes, we
We
could.
can lease to ourselves, but we can also charge for parking, and that's income that the city can get for that garage.
Mr. Mayor,
We thought this through very carefully, gentlemen. We didn't just,
you are saying
You called for a question.
this project has a fund limit on it.
no. This project.
It only can
it has
profit.
I do want to know that
It
one
has
of the
a-
councilmen has called for the question, so we have a pending motion.
It's a program income limitation that the feds have on the income. It says anything that's a net profit over 35,000 has to be paid back to the state.
Okay,
But
that
it
is true.
becomes, where do you show a net income of 35,000? I can tell you right now, if this building makes $2, $3, $4 million, I'm expensive back into this community.
So we are putting a project on this piece of property that has an income limit compared to putting a project that does not have an income limit.
Not a. When you say income limit, let me make sure. I'm gonna talk to you in accounting terms.
Okay.
Income limit means that you can't make so much money. Program income means that the programs that you have in there have a limit if you don't expense it out. In other words, if you make $12 million, then guess what? You got to pay it back unless you use that $12 million to do other things. That's why I said we're going to have different programs in there for the kids. They can play reg ball. They ain't got to pay fees. They don't have to pay uniforms. We're going to put all the equipment and everything else in there. We can expense that out. I dealt with a number of nonprofits. There's a number of ways to make this work.
But still, my point is this, that we can do that anywhere in the city and do it for the kids anywhere in the city. We don't have to use this prime property with an income limit that we're doing.
And Mr. Fonda, I can tell you, if there's another place, find it after you vote for this resolution.
He just offered one.
He can't vote for it now. He want to pass this one.
I want to
and
vote
then
this
come back.
up or down before, because look, if this passes, if this resolution passes, we can move forward. If it doesn't, then we go ahead and do other things. But if we don't pass it, and we still can't find sites, we're wasting more time. We are 6 weeks further down from where we were, and I am very concerned because the people that are the grantee of this are very concerned. The Office of Community Development, the state does not want to be on the hook for $30 million that the city of Lake Charles could not figure out what to do with. And that's not, I said it before and I'll say it again, there's no disrespect. That's not going to happen on my watch. I am going to find a way to get this money into this community, and I would hope that this council would partner with me and do it. This resolution of support is really to say that we are all on the same page moving forward with this particular project. I do ask that you vote, then if it doesn't pass, look, tell me all your sites. I'll go look all day long. But then remember, what happens with that $30 million is no longer on the administration's books, it's on yours.
The question has been called.
Well, there hadn't been a second to that, but there's nothing that precludes, actually, that precludes you from taking a recommendation. I agree we ought to vote on your recommendation, but that's just a recommendation. You could submit other sites if there's other sites that make sense.
We are gonna, well, let me back up, because
You can't, you may not want to, but you're not prohibited from doing that by this action.
Mr. Weatherford,
or lack thereof.
there's a lot of projects. I mean, my administration is working very, very hard on.
Oh, no, you don't.
This one project has sucked up so much oxygen. When the Office of Community Development came in, they had seen the 5-hour meeting that came here. That's what prompted them to come and lay eyes on us in person. So I don't want to spend any more time chasing rabbits down the rabbit holes if I don't have to. If I have to, I will, but if I don't, I won't.
But I think what he's saying, Mayor, is you're asking us to vote on this as a recommendation.
Right.
But you can send another one in at the same time, even though we voted on this.
No, OCD, they don't want you to send multiple sites in. They're saying send in the site, but they got their paperwork to send to Washington, D.C. too.
The question has been called. A resolution selecting the former Capital One Tower site for the indoor sports facility such
Excuse me, we gotta have a second, I think.
You have to have a second on the question.
Does anybody second the question?
The question?
Matt?
I call for a vote.
You called for a
Okay.
vote.
I second it.
Of course.
Can I get
Go ahead.
Yes.
So, Mr. Stoops, if you don't mind, can you please explain to the council what a yes vote does and what a no vote does tonight?
Yes, so calling the question, once you vote, you're now voting on the resolution that's before you tonight, which is the approval of the Capital One Tower site. It's a resolution selecting the Capital One Tower site for the indoor sports facility. Such selection conditioned upon applicable state and federal funding partners' approval of the site. So your vote now is, if you vote yes, you're voting in favor of a resolution that selects the Capital One Tower site, conditioned upon applicable state and federal funding partners.
Any questions or comments? Please vote.
5 in favor and 2 against.
Miss,
You want me to tell you?
I want you to poll it, yes.
Okay. Those voting in favor are Mr. Bilbo, Mr. Young, Mr. Marks.
In favor?
That's what you got.
That's incorrect.
You want me to clear the vote?
Yes, clear the vote. Please vote.
You did it again, Fred.
No, he didn't.
No, you didn't.
This time
He voted no.
it's 4 in favor and 3 against. Those voting in favor are Mr. Bilbo, Mr. Young, Mr. Vizino, and Mr. Weatherford. Those voting against are Mr. Harvey, Mr. Marks, and Mr. Fondell.
The following ordinance is for introduction by consent and will be read into the record the day following this meeting at 9 a.m. in the City Council chambers in City Hall. An ordinance authorizing the settlement of a claim against the City of Lake Charles in the suit style Lesvizia Funes Mendez versus American Alternative Insurance Corporation, the City of Lake Charles, and the Houston Lane Boyd docket number 2023-1780, Division G, on the docket of the 14th Judicial District Court, Parish of Calcasieu, State of Louisiana. This meeting is adjourned. We will start the agenda meeting.
Mixed-use zoning district at 2604 Lake Street.
Oh, really?
An ordinance ordering demolition and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for demolition of a structure located at 1814 Eastern Street, Willie LaFleur and Josephine LaFleur owners. Another demolition at 410 North Simmons Street, Pamela Marie Swain owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Another demolition at 1610 Graham Street, Alan J. Mitchell owner. Another demolition at 2200 Commercial Street, First New Life Missionary Baptist Church of Lake Charles Incorporated owner. Another demolition at 1900 Prejean Drive, Place Vendôme Apartment Homes LLC owner. Another demolition at 633 South Franklin Street, shed only, Laura Gaddy Glenn and Leonard Gerard Gaddy owners. Another demolition at 1030 13th Street, carport only, Russell William Young and Natasha Lynn Miller Young owners. Another demolition at 2502 Root Street, rear house only, Lily Ann Duhan and David T. Huddleston estate owners. Another demolition at 2713 General Vandenberg, Linda Gray Guidry estate owner. Another demolition at 2915 Creole Street, RH Rental Properties LLC owner. Another demolition at 1901 7th Street, Earl Joseph Banks Jr., James Anthony Anderson, Bessie Mae Joyner estate, Emmett Joyner estate, and Sheila Marie LeBlanc Ozane owners, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. Another demolition at 1023 14th Street, Joshua John Common and Angela A. Ecclesi owners. Another demolition at 813 and a half East Prion Lake Road, commercial building behind main building, David Lynn Tinker II and Kenzie Pauline Stone Tinker owners. Ordinances final action, an ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for project number CP 3257, Sally Mae Medora to Dead End Phase 2, and amend the budget as necessary. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsive and responsible bid and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for the purchase of office supplies for use by various city of Lake Charles departments and divisions for a 12-month period with the option to renew for 2 additional 12-month periods. An ordinance accepting the lowest responsible bid and authorizing the city of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement for the purchase of polymer flocculants for use by the Public Works Department Wastewater Division for a 1-year period with an option to renew on same terms for an additional 12 months. An ordinance creating the positions of Chief of Administration and Chief of Operations within Administrative Division of the Lake Charles Fire Department and to provide for the qualifications, duties, and responsibilities for such positions and other related matters. An ordinance for consideration to amend the official zoning map from a residential zoning district to a business zoning district, companion with a major conditional use permit in order to construct a warehouse use with variances to 1, eliminate required 15-foot buffer yard along north property line, and 2, allow use on local street versus required location adjacent to and having access to an arterial or collector street at 629 to 633 North Coletta Street and 624 to 628 Armstrong Street. An ordinance authorizing the city of Lake Charles to allow employees to be off on Friday, November 28, 2025 as an extra pay day off for career and non-career full-time employees. An ordinance authorizing the settlement of a claim against the city of Lake Charles in the suit style Lisvia Funes Mendez versus American Alternative Insurance Corporation, the city of Lake Charles, and Houston Lane Boyd. Docket number 2023-1780, Division G, on the docket of the 14th Judicial District Court, Parish of Calcasieu, State of Louisiana. The City Council may hold an executive session to discuss a claim against the City of Lake Charles in the suit style Lisvia Funes Mendez versus American Alternative Insurance Corporation, the City of Lake Charles, and Houston Lane Boyd, docket number 2023-1780, Division G, on the docket of the 14th Judicial District Court, Parish of Calcasieu, State of Louisiana, pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 42-6 et sec. The following resolutions may be adopted by consent. A resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in the City of Lake Charles, Louisiana, the city on April 18, 2026, or such other election date prescribed by the legislature of the state of Louisiana as an alternative for such date in accordance with law for the purpose of submitting to the electors residing in the city qualified under the Constitution and laws of the state of Louisiana propositions for authorizing the renewal of the levy and collection of certain special ad valorem taxes for the purposes described herein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. A resolution accepting project number CP 3461, decorative metalwork on various promenade features as substantially complete, and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution accepting LC Rebound 911 Memorial Park Task Order 2024 LCR 404 as substantially complete, and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution accepting project number CP 3502 Kirby and Hodges Street sidewalk repairs as substantially complete, and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution accepting project number CP 3070 WWTP BC oxidation ditch repairs and improvements as substantially complete, and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution accepting project number OP 7306 Fire Station Number 1 restroom renovations as substantially complete, and authorizing the advertising of the 45-day lien period. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2205 Klein Street, Barry Mark Charles, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1613 A Street, Kimberly Jones, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1501 4th Avenue, FIG Series 2024-100, LLC, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1205 14th Street, Jesse Allen Strub, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1621 2nd Avenue, Judith Lynn Pishon Estate, and Amber Henry, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 806 Azalea Drive, carport only, Tamika Francis, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 518th Lobato Street, front house only, Jerome Murray, owner, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 210 North Booker Street, Dorothy Mae Collins and Harry Lee Simeon, estate owners, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1013 Alamo Street, Clarice Mott, owner, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 2103 Opelousas Street, Sandra Pete Anderson, estate owner, subject to a tax sale to state of Louisiana, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1613 Shaw Street, Savernus Gradnigo Jr. and Mary Elise Gradnigo, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of a structure located at 1029 Alamo Street, Jana Marie Burdette and Terry Danielle Turner, owners, with a companion ordinance. A resolution setting date for public hearing on condemnation of structures located at 521 Kingsley Street, Letitia Michelle Fontenot, Boardwalk Investors with Union Bank as security party, Kenneth Joseph Fontenot, Shelley Michelle Fontenot, Heritage Management Services with Union Bank as secured party, Malcolm J. Fontenot, April Nicole Fontenot Thomas, Kim Latrice Fontenot Poulard, and Harold J. Thibodeau, owners, subject to a tax sale to the state of Louisiana. A resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Downtown Development Authority Lakefront District of Subdistrict in accordance with ordinance number 15062. An ordinance approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Downtown Development Lakefront Development Subdistrict in accordance with ordinance number 15062. A resolution approving the mayor's appointment of members to the Downtown Development Authority Lakefront Development Subdistrict in accordance with ordinance number 15062.
Mr. Mark, you had a question?
Yes, are these,
I'm wondering about
Three
that
appointments.
oh,
myself.
that's individual
Yeah,
appointments?
individual appointment.
A resolution setting date for public hearing on alteration of shoreline of Calcasieu River to install timber deck and covered boat slips and remove and replace existing damaged bulkhead by installing riprap and fill for bank line stabilization at 20 River Road. A resolution setting the agenda meeting date for the City Council of the City of Lake Charles for Wednesday, November 12, 2025, in place of the regularly scheduled agenda meeting on Tuesday, November 11, 2025, due to the observance of Veterans Day. Introduction of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter into an agreement with Motorola Solutions for the purchase of 70 APX N70XE mobile radios for use by the Lake Charles Fire Department utilizing Ascension Parish contract number 51022. Introduction of an ordinance authorizing the City of Lake Charles to enter into a professional services agreement with Allied Universal to provide comprehensive security detail coverages for City Hall, the Transit Division Building, the downtown lakefront, and other buildings as needed. And that's all that I have. The rest are companion ordinances.
Add, Ms. Renee, we need to add a agenda item.
Okay.
I think I need a second here, huh?
You just need to read it in.
Yes, sir. Let's read it in.
The title, resolution indicating the intention of the City of Lake Charles, State of Louisiana, to approve the 2-year appointment of Emily McDaniel as Director to the Board of Louisiana Local Government, Environmental Facilities, and Community Development Authority. The authority, as provided by Chapter 10D of the Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statute of 1950 as amended. Do I read the explanation?
I don't think so.
You don't need to. That's good.
Good? This meeting is adjourned.
Wait, I got one card. I'm sorry.
Oh, one call. Yeah, I'm sorry. I read it. The community part of the meeting. I'm sorry. Well, actually, yeah. No, actually, it's you got something?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Young?
No, sir.
Mr. Harvey?
Yes. Can we take a look at the hotel on 2600 Moreland Street? There's been a constant complaint. I've been constantly putting reports in. Also, second request, I've asked the city administration to create a strategic plan to address the community about open ditches in the community. I would like to have a public meeting in the community to let people know what's our plans as a city to address ditch issues. That's all I have.
Mr. Harvey, the chief of police, we've been on that Bowling Street.
Mr. Harvey, I thought you were aware, Corey Rubin with the legal department and members of the management team were in my office this morning.
Okay.
And we were explaining what is expected of them on moving forward and the problems that we have. I will tell you that there is a new management company and the call volume is going down, but they at least showed intent in the meeting this morning to work toward a better place. I just wanted to let you know that that happened this morning in my office.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it.
We've actually sent some formal cease and desist letters with the issue, so we're on top of it.
Well, I do want to say, one thing that we did, and we had discussions about, was whether that facility was in violation of our nuisance abatement ordinance. But then we ran across an issue that there's a number of people in there that are desperately in need of housing. Like, for instance, if you know Michael Ned, he lives there, so if we would have shut that place down, a number of people would have been homeless in this place. So I was glad that the new management came in and met with the chief. They're going to clean that up, or else we will. We did tell them that we do intend to enforce those ordinances eventually if they don't get this cleaned up.
I agree. I just want to make sure, for the point of the record, there's people in that community, in that subdivision, which is probably some of the higher paying property tax people who are constantly complaining. Those people are infiltrating their neighborhood. They're ringing doorbells. They're making people back there really, really uncomfortable. We get nonstop calls. As you can remember, about 2 months ago, that entire community on that side of Pineview Street came here. So I just think we need to really get active and really address it. They've been complaining about it for about a year.
Okay, we'll do.
Mr. Beason,
No.
Mr. Weber?
Nothing.
I got a couple of things. I'd like to get a Lake Charles rebound report on when the estimated time we're gonna draw down the money. and the projects. I'd like to have all council members get the projects that's designated for their areas so they can start doing the research on it. I'd like to get a report for all council members on the second harvest report. I remember at one time we wasn't sure about what that project is gonna entail, but hopefully we have it now. I need an update on the McNeese Street project. We were supposed to have a project on the corner of McNeese and I can't think of the street on the side of the charter school that was supposed to be.
Southport?
It's Southport.
Southport?
It's complete?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah, it was just washing out under there, yeah.
No, I called in to Miss Paula because the HOA called me in and the ditch on South Park.
No, I'm talking about the street, the piping that was supposed
Oh, I thought y'all were talking about the ditch on.
Drainage pipe or something.
Right.
there
Yes.
they had an issue with. I think they repaired that,
Yeah.
but we
No,
contracted
I'm
it out.
talking about, we had a project that was supposed to take place and go from, I think it's a Ginger.
Lejean?
Street.
Is it Lejean?
It was
Oh, the
supposed to,
drainage projects on Legendre?
yeah, that was supposed to come across McNeese, right? Or come that way.
Well, it's another phase of Legendre Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
Herman Stevens, Manager of Engineering. We have parish funds to address those projects. There's multiple phases covering Legendre, South Park, phases 1, 2, there may be a third phase. I have to confirm funding. It is in design, and hopefully we'll go out to bid this year.
Okay. All right, appreciate it, Herman.
Thank you.
The traffic study status on 4th Avenue between Prien Lake and Oak Park. It's on 4th Avenue between Prien Lake and Oak Park.
I'll send you an update tomorrow via email.
All right. The hiring, we voted some time ago to hire another position in property standards. I'd like to know the status of our hiring process because I got word that we short in a lot of departments and I just want to know that we doing every effort.
We're interviewing candidates at this time.
Okay. Noise ordinance. I'm catching hell with these noise ordinances. I know it reads, city attorney, from 7 to 10 o'clock is the deadline during the week. But what do we do when it's excessive noise before 10 o'clock?
I'll look into that.
Because I called the police officers out there and they was limited on what they can do.
Is it construction or is it
No, just regular.
a noise?
Yeah.
Music?
I know construction, you can't work after a certain time, but noise ordinance up in the Walton Court area, it's a dead end, and I get constant reports, and I went out there myself, and it was loud, but after the police said they couldn't tell them nothing, what was I gonna do?
Because
it was prior to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think even before 10 o'clock, there's a certain decibel. If they go out there with a noise meter and it's over a certain decibel, they can shut that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look into that, Mr. Marks, but
Okay.
I believe they can still address it above a certain decibel amount.
All right. The other thing, parades. When did it become the councilman's duty to approve parades? We've been told, we got an email, you got that email? It was an email stating that the councilman have to sign off on parades in the areas. We've never done that before. That's always been the marshal's duty.
No.
It's not for you guys to sign off on. It's likely a parade that needs council support because it requires a resolution, whether it's an excessive length, over 100 ATVs, horses, anything like that.
This is just one parade.
Yeah, they're going to come to you guys. They need a council member to put that item on the agenda, but you're just offering the resolution of support.
I thought it was it covers all of us. We had to do that. It's just that one parade because it exceeded the limits.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And no, the permit department covers the permits for the parades, and then the marshal's office coordinates the security.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I think we might need to communicate that because I've been approached by the Nice Speed of Claver, Mr. Arnabello actually reached out to me before the meeting. Ms. Diana Ross reached out to me. Mr. Antonio Duhorn. Their communication they received was that the city councilman for that particular area is supposed to sign off on something. Ms. Ross actually approached me outside about signing off for an MLK Day parade. So I think the communication is just, maybe it's just being misconstrued. Those 3 people called me within a 2-day period.
MLK parade should not require council approval unless for some reason they're going above the threshold for ATVs, which the chief can sign up on up to 100. The other ones with Mr. Duhan, with Mr. Bellard, or Mr. Bello, I'm sorry, those are in primarily affecting District A, and so we try to send those to the district that's being affected. So if you don't want 100 horses on the streets in your district or an excess number of ATVs, we like to know that you are in support of having that in your district before all the city officials sign off on it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Chief, how is the, I see the commercials running. Are we getting any applications?
So, yes, sir, we had a hiring event in August, and right now I think we are 12 or 13 that are in the process to be hired in January. But in addition to the biannual, if you will, hiring event, we have many hiring events, if you will, where if we find some interested people to come in, we will do what we can to pick them up, including people who are already post-certified. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so we should have 13 new officers by the next year.
Well, right now there's 13. I don't know how many there's going to be by the time we're done with all the vetting of these applicants, but right now I believe there's 13 or so in the process.
Okay, good deal. Any other questions or comments?
I have one. Yes. I would like for the city administration, and I don't even know if I'm asking this, but I'm requesting it. I need to know what the DDA does. Like, what have they done in the last 3 years? And I'm saying that because I've sent several requests to be invited to a meeting, being that is inside my district. And I just feel like for the last 3 years, they've never honored my request to come to a meeting. I don't know what's going on with them, but they come up here and they advocate lots, time and time again, and they don't even have the audacity to contact the city councilman for that area. So I would like to know in the last 3 years, almost like a SWOT analysis, what have they done for the district? If we're gonna continue to allow them to, I see they have 2 appointments coming up, but I think it's a true travesty that I've never been invited to a meeting. I've never had any communication from the president, and I've sent those emails. I know he's gonna get it. I'm quite sure I'm gonna get a request tomorrow, but I'm just saying, not that I'm looking for it now, but it's clear that they don't want to include the councilman for that district in any discussion with the DDA. So I really would like some type of analysis of what have they done, what are they doing, what's the scope and practice of the purpose of that organization. They come in here and they campaign for certain things that I think is individualistic that they're looking for, but they never contact the councilman. I never hear from them. They come up here time and time again, and I've got email requests that showed I've asked to go to the meetings, and that's 3 years as a councilman. That's never been honored. I don't want to go now. I mean, it's clear they made their statement, but I just want to know what is it that they do to say that we're going to recognize them. I would like to know what they do.
Right. Okay.
And just for clarity, Mayor, are we adding 3 people to the already board, or it's a whole new board?
Well, there's some replacements that expired, and so we're putting in some new people, and I agree with the councilman that we're going to find out exactly how does that fit into the overall development of our area.
Mr. Harvey, I apologize for that. I mean, we did not know that was taking place, and we'll try to get you the information you're looking for and try to get to the bottom of it.
And I've requested that from the leaders of the organization.
Understood.
It's blatantly like they're not trying to make me a part of it. And all I'm asking for is communication. If they asking me to come up here and embrace what they're doing and support what they're doing, but I can't even get an invite to the meeting or at least be in the know of what they're trying to do, it's clear that they're not trying to include the councilman for that area. I just think that's...
They will.
Absolutely. I guarantee they will.
I just want to know that, because if they're not doing something effective, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I would have to have I want to bring it to the table to see like what's the purpose of it.
Understood.
Anybody else? No? This time we gonna hear from the public. Mr. Miles Brown.
Don't say his name.
How you doing? Miles Brown, 1020 4th Avenue. I just want to say, I guess for the past few years, every time I usually would come here, all I really wanted was a stop sign. And, you know, through that process and everything, you're always told you have to do a traffic study. If it warrants it, you can possibly get an ordinance passed, whatever the case may be. So I just do want to thank Public Works for recently, being, since, say, July, being more transparent and letting me know some things. And because, the past few years, I was told a traffic study was done, never was a traffic study, had to come up here and prove it. If y'all remember when I came here May 13th of this year, I said the traffic study of last year was done, but there was some technical errors, and it's proven that it was. So just recently, I looked at the new traffic study in July, and spoke with the proper people. They were helpful, but as of recent, I asked them some questions on the recent traffic study, how this time there was missing information, and it's clear as day that there is, because I studied it. I did a public records request on it. So I really do want to move forward on trying to pass an ordinance for what I'm asking for, but it looks like, as of right now, the newest traffic study, there's some missing information. I'm trying to see if there's somebody that can help me, or at least answer the basic questions on the recent traffic study.
Where's the traffic study for?
On 4th Avenue.
4th Avenue?
Yeah.
That's the same one you've been trying to get on?
Yeah,
first?
and this is not the
4th
first,
Avenue?
not the second, the third time.
But
And
I don't understand, Mr. Brown. We gave you a answer the last time on that particular address. It didn't warrant, you wanted a stop sign there.
okay, so if we're, I know it's a lot to happen. So let's just start back. So in May of 2023 2023, I would come up here and y'all would say, okay, we'll do a traffic study, and that was around the time Ms. Dowden was there. And then she said on record, we did a traffic study, and it didn't warrant it. And then I came here on September 24th of last year, and I proved I had a public records request, and they stated there was no traffic study done. And so that's whenever in October of last year, they did a new traffic study, and I was grateful for it. But then as I'm reading it and studying it, I said, there was some inconsistencies. So that's whenever I brought it up, and that's when Mr. Cardone said, send your stuff to the legal department, and they would give you an answer. Never got an answer, so that's when I went to the mayor's action line. And then they sent it to the right people, and I have the paperwork here to prove it.
So you got the answer?
And they said that there was technical errors on the one in October 2024.
Doing it again.
So that's when they did it again in July. And the most recent one, we discussed it, but again, the one they just did, they have missing information on there. And so when I asked the right people, they just said, let's try to move forward and let's just see what we can do to possibly get what you really want. So I'm not really asking for a traffic study to be done again, but I do like to know what's up with this one. At least somebody can give me the right answers, because there's
What are you
quite a few
asking for
things.
the traffic study for?
Yeah.
Ultimately, I want to get on the agenda item to get an ordinance for a particular area. There's some yield signs. I want those to change to stop signs, and I want to make a four-way stop in a particular area that I'm
On 4th?
On 4th Avenue, yes.
You're talking about the yield signs that's further down?
Yeah, it's
headed
on.
south?
No, headed north. So there's a yield sign on Johanna Place and 2nd Street.
Okay.
And so I want to put those stop signs, and then in that area, I want to make that a four-way stop.
Sign is on the street coming out to
It's gonna be
4th
on
Avenue?
Johanna Street. Yeah,
Johanna
it's not
Place.
on 4th Avenue.
No, there's no. It's on
Mr. Marks, if I may, just a couple of things. I think the traffic study was redone because we had new equipment that was ordered that would be updated equipment that would update the traffic study. So not necessarily that it was done in error, that you had new equipment ordered. And Ms. Robinson's here with Public Works, and I think she can assist Mr. Miles with some of this.
Yes, Wendy Robinson, Public Works. And I've spoken with Mr. Miles, and we actually went out there, Mr. Nanette and myself, we spoke with him. Mr. Miles is asking for a four-way stop on 4th Avenue, coming off of Broad Street, heading south. Once you get to Joanne and 2nd, it kind of makes a little dog leg there. Right now, those are yield signs. We did do a traffic study there, and based on our traffic study, it showed that we need to replace those yield signs and put stop signs. However, making a four-way stop there, it's not going to approve. That's something that the study said that was not recommended. Basically, when you're coming off Broad Street and you're turning, you're still trying to pick up speed. By the time they pick up speed and then boom, come to a stop, four-way stop, that's not the best for traffic flow there.
Do you understand that?
That wasn't stated when we spoke But I'll say this, that I have paperwork coming from Public Works that said there was technical errors from October 2024's traffic study. So that's why they had to do a new one. I'll just say that. And then as far as the, what she's just saying, when I asked those questions, I didn't get any answer. It just was,
Okay,
so.
but being that you didn't get the answers
Yeah.
before, she's giving you the answers now, is that
And-
acceptable?
Well, the reason why is because, let me just say this, in the traffic study that they did do in July, they did it going north and south, and there's supposed to be a traffic going east and west. In that information, when the traffic study, when you look at it, there's no information on the east and west. So when I asked about it, they couldn't give me an answer. So I'm like, well, why was there a box there for 2 or 3 weeks going east and west where it was supposed to be data, but it's not on the study?
Okay, let's resolve this. Now, what he talking about, Ms. Wendy, is the
Yes.
same four-way you talking about, right?
We're talking about the same intersections.
Same
Yes,
intersection.
yes.
So she's telling you that that four-way doesn't warrant, that area doesn't warrant a four-way stop.
It does not.
Okay,
And-
but you saying the information was given to you wrong.
Yeah, like there's not even information showing east and west like it was stated in the original, like it's supposed to stay. So that's all I'm asking.
So can we get together off the record and?
That's no problem because we did it before. We do it again. I just need a
But long as
question.
you know that the four-way stop can't be put.
I just need more clear answers, and then we can just go forward. That's all I ask for.
I have a but there are stop signs on because Johanna it runs east-west, and there's stop signs on Johanna,
Yield
correct?
signs.
But
They're yield
yeah, I thought you said that study said that it should be placed with stop signs.
We're changing those, and we're in the process of changing those to stop signs.
Okay, and that's because the traffic study warranted that.
The traffic study warned, and when we went out there is
Right.
yield
It's
signs.
irregular, it's
It's
off-
not as safe
right.
because there is
I'm saying-
also a fence there. It doesn't make the clearings for a yield sign. People need to stop,
I
pay
agree,
attention.
yeah. So there are stop signs on the east-west, so whether there was data there or not, you're
yield
putting a
sign-
stop
there-
sign.
there are
You're
yield signs
replacing the
there.
yield with stop, so there's gonna be 2 stop signs on the east-west bound road on either side of
Yes.
4th Avenue. You're just not gonna stop the traffic on 4th Avenue. So
Right.
whether you got data or not, the stop signs are up on Johanna coming from the.
Will be, yes,
Will
they
be,
will
all
be
right, well,
up.
right, well, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
And it's not gonna happen on 4th Avenue because it's not warranted. So
It's not.
I think you've given what is warranted. And there's really no need to do another traffic study because
Right.
we've.
And the reason is, this has probably just happened, but we've had some personnel changes in that department, and when we went, it was like the first week of those personnel changes, and we went back and did some more studying, and I hadn't had the chance to get with Mr. Miles, because he actually asked me at the last meeting, I told him we would get back with him.
Well, I
So,
just want to
yes.
let you know, Ms. Wendy, Mr. Miles would like the details. He like the details.
Yeah,
So,
I
he
mean-
good?
Yeah, as long as you get a chance to meet, that's no problem. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Mac Delafosse. State your name and address for the record, please.
Mac Delafosse, 1917 19th Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana. Mr. Marks, I wasn't planning on speaking, but I want to make sure that I heard correctly. There was an agenda item that was read in. Could you tell me what is that regarding? Because from what I think I heard, that agenda item is to move to replace me from that particular board to, is that what it read?
It didn't say replace you, it said appoint, hold on. I think I got it somewhere.
I mean, it didn't say to replace, but it seemed like from what I heard, it was to appoint
Yes.
Ms.
to appoint,
McDaniel.
Miss Emily to the,
So I just want to get clarification to be sure that's.
what you
Ms.
heard was
Lu-
right. It
So
was
is that
to replace-
automatic, or do you have to vote on putting
We have
that on
to
agenda?
Vote on it. That was just put on the agenda.
Okay, so when do we get to talk about whether we want that on the agenda or not?
It's gonna be on the next meeting agenda.
Okay, so that will determine if it's going to go on the full board agenda?
No, that's for introduction.
Okay, so,
Introduction, right?
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
so what I'm asking is, so
We don't vote on it until,
Actually,
to put it on the agenda?
no, it got put on the agenda tonight.
So do you vote on that as a council to put that on the agenda, or does?
No, we can add it to the agenda, because this is an agenda meeting.
Right. So what I'm asking is, at what point does it fall on the actual agenda meeting? Is that the next meeting?
yes.
In the actual meeting.
Yes.
The resolution be voted on at the next meeting.
So
a week
next
from tomorrow.
Wednesday.
So there's no way to stop this from getting on the agenda, is what I'm asking. Do you
Unless
speak
somebody
against it?
objected, nobody
You
objected.
no one objected.
So that's my question I'd like to speak to the council about, is to not get this on the agenda simply because, and I prepared a little statement here because I kind of figured this was going to happen because Mayor Simeon has been calling the director to figure out how to get me removed from this particular board, which this council had appointed me for 2 years in April. So in order for me not to say some things I probably will regret, I prepared just a real quick statement. So I speak to you today not only as the current chairman of the Louisiana Community Development Association.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, go
hold on,
ahead.
Mr. Delafosse. I'm gonna have to get some, for proper procedural.
Okay,
We put this on the agenda, nobody objected.
so do we,
So the only time we can discuss it now is at the next meeting when it comes for discussion.
all right, so there's a way right now, a council member can decide right now to vote to put not allowed on the agenda. You can still go back and do that,
If they
according to
wanna
Robert's
change-
Rules
if
of
they wanna
Order.
change
So
their
that's what I
vote.
would ask
Yeah.
one of the council members to at least pose it, because I don't believe this should be put on the agenda. You know, I was appointed for 2 years. There's no cause to remove me from this board, and I just think this council that don't need to waste their time doing what Mr. Simeon is trying to do. So I would ask that one of the council members move to have this not put on the agenda.
So, okay, first of all, any questions?
Yeah.
It was an add-on.
Oh, okay.
It was an add-on. If y'all need to read it, I can pass it down, and y'all can read it. So, any councilman have any questions?
What would it take to,
One vote, two votes or one vote
To,
to not put it on the agenda?
I think y'all would have to have a motion and a second to
go back.
reconsider the
We have,
agenda.
but I'm saying, once we get the motion and the reconsideration, it only takes
It would take four to remove it from the agenda now.
to remove it.
That's correct.
But how many does it take to put it on the agenda? Four.
Yeah.
You know, it's by acclamation, is that, and that's basically we
We
voted.
Put it on
7-0
by acclamation already.
By acclamation.
So we could entertain a motion to take it off, but it takes 4 votes to do that.
You need a motion and a
Before-
second and a
Motion, a
vote.
second, and 4 votes.
And before you vote, I would like to explain why this is actually on the agenda.
And
This particular board deals with the authorizations of bonds. As you know, we have Lake Charles Rebound, we have about $160 million worth of bonds. The finance director of the city of Lake Charles has always served on that board. Ron Kimberly served on it for a number of years. Karen Harrell served on it for a number of years. During the last administration, Mac was put on there, and he was put on at the last minute before we came in. So I wanted to know why our finance director wasn't on that board. Well, at the time, when it came up, she was new, so she was still getting her feet wet with the finance department, but now she's actually ready to serve on that board. And the finance director usually serves on that board because that board is overseeing the issuance of bonds. So it's nothing against Mr. Delafosse personally. It's the business of the city that we've always had our finance director on that board.
Well, I will say, I was on that board and it wasn't a rush. Because I think we did it, that was almost a year and something ago, that we voted on that. So I don't know about how, I don't, what is the rules behind the governance of that board, that appointment? You understand what I'm asking?
Well, the mayor has an appointment, but it would have to be approved by the council.
Yeah, but I'm saying, for removal. Is there a rule for a removal?
Yes.
Mr. Delafosse just I think October 9th was his last meeting as the presiding chair, so we gave the courtesy of letting him finish out his term as the chair, but now there's no other reason for us to hold that up. So we really want to get Ms. McDaniel on because we're going to be asking for, our first tranche of Lake Charles Rebound bonds are coming up next year.
All
So
I'm asking, Mayor, is for that position, just like if you read on other boards, they serve at the will of the mayor can take them off at will or whatever. What is that?
I don't know whether his term has lapsed, or has his term lapsed?
no, his term hasn't lapsed, but is my will and the administration's recommendation that for the finances of the city, our finance director should be on that board.
And I get what you're saying. I just want to follow proper procedure. If it has to go to a vote,
I think,
for that, we need to find that out before we just do something now that would and that's why I say, Go ahead on.
So typically, according to your chart, I have to be removed for cause. And just so you know, I've served 2 years already, and I'm working this. I got approved April by most of the board here, well, three members that were on the last board, for another 2-year term. So, and typically, and I'll read this here real quick if you don't mind, that'll kind of clear up what Mr. Simeon is saying. Also note, by putting Ms. McDaniel on there, she's only going to go to one meeting. She doesn't take the role of an executive on the executive board. So she just went to a meeting in October, which is the one meeting that she would make. So by removing me, it really doesn't make a lot of sense when she would only go to one meeting, and I'm on the board, on the executive board, and I go to each meeting every month. So I'll read this to you. That way this may clear up a couple of things. So as I was saying earlier, I speak to you today not only as the current chairman of the Louisiana Community Development Association Board, but as a lifelong resident who cares deeply about the direction and priorities of the city. In April 2025, the council voted unanimously to reappoint me for another 2-year term, a decision based on my proven record of service and partnership. Since then, I've continued to perform my duties faithfully and effectively. There's been no misconduct, no neglect of duty, and my term has not expired. Yet the administration now seeks to replace me without cause. Such an action is misguided and inconsistent with the principles of sound government outlined in Section 5.6 of the city charter, which allows removal only in cases of misconduct, neglect, incapacity, resignation, or expiration of term. None of those applies to me. What concerns me most is not simply the attempt to remove me. It is what this attempt reveals about the current direction of leadership of Lake Charles. At a time when our city is facing real challenges that affect public safety, economic stability, neighborhood livability, focusing on an inconsequential board appointment demonstrates misplaced priorities and a troubling lack of direction. It has been stated that the intent is to replace me with Ms. McDaniel. While I respect those who serve this city, the substitution would not strengthen Lake Charles' role on the Louisiana Development Board. It would diminish it. The finance director would hold less independent authority than my appointment. Reducing the authority of this appointment does not advance the city's interests. It weakens its influence and its voice. If the finance director is chosen by this council to replace me, please understand that her appointment would only be in the capacity to serve as a board member that meets one time a year for the election of who's going to serve on the executive board. That individual would not serve on the executive board like I currently serve. Also note the finance director is not appointed by the council of the board. He or she is not allowed to attend, is still allowed to attend the yearly meetings in his or her current capacity. So what I was saying was, Ms. McDaniel is still can go to the yearly meetings. She can go to every meeting if she really wants. She doesn't have to have the appointment of this board. So if his intention is he wants to learn, she wants to know more about it, she still has that one opportunity that she just went to in October to go without removing me from the executive board. So I say all that to say, give me a second here. I'm not going to read all what I had, so I just respectfully request that this board does not let this item be added to the agenda simply because of the reasons I've stated. I just don't think it makes sense, and I'll hold my thoughts on some of the other reasons, but if we want to have Ms. McDaniel on that board, she can still go to all the meetings. There's no sense, and I haven't done anything that warrants my removal. So whatever, I don't know if this is directed at me because of some things that's happened in the past, but there's no reason for you guys to undo what you've done. Let me finish out my 2-year term, and then the mayor can have an appointment of whoever he likes, still while letting Ms. McDaniel attend the meetings like she does. That's all I'm asking.
Any questions or comments?
So right now, if she wants, she can attend all the meetings.
Yes.
She can attend one every month
Yes,
if she so need experience.
yes,
And it won't change anything.
correct.
and that's inaccurate because it's not for the change in experience. The city of Lake Charles has been a participating political subdivision of that board, which will make decisions based upon our bonds. I've had no communication with Mrs. Delafosse since I've been in office, and he's chaired that board. And it's very important that we have direct information that's coming to our city. And our finance director, the previous two finance directors served over 20 years on that board, and I want to restore us back to that level of participation. And I've spoken with Ms. McDaniel. She is ready and well prepared, so it's not a matter of going out there to learn. She's going to go and participate because we do have ultimately $160 million worth of bonds that's gone before that board, and I want somebody who's directly accountable to this city and this administration on that, not a private citizen. And if you look at the members of that board, most of the members of that board are part of the political subdivisions that participate in it, not private citizens.
Mr. Marks, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So I've attempted numerous occasions to try to set up a meeting with Mayor Simeon. I think you and also Mr. Bilbo are aware that I've tried. For some reason or another, I think we all know the reason, the person who I supported for mayor was not Mr. Simeon. So, whether he's making some attempt to get me off the board. I've served in the capacity on the school board for 12 years on this same board in executive role. So this is nothing new. And the members on our board also are on this board by sheriff departments, mayors. So, if he wanted an update, it's very easy. I'm very willing to come and sit down with the mayor and talk about it. You also note that I always recuse myself when it comes to voting on anything when I was with the school board or with the city of Lake Charles. I recuse myself from the vote because I don't want to appear impartial. So I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Morris.
So,
Defeats the purpose.
I think I heard the mayor say that you no longer hold the position.
Yes, I'm still the chairman.
You still the
And what
chairman?
happens is every year,
Till December.
you come in and you vote on who you want. So basically, you roll off. So I was the vice chairman, then I'm the chairman, then I roll back to a regular member of the 7-member body board that we have. That's how it works.
Is there an advantage to us having the chairman as opposed to a regular lay member?
Well, you don't have a regular lay, you don't have any appointments on the executive board at this point, except I'm the only one. Your appointment doesn't guarantee you,
Saying
right.
if you fall off, does that hurt us?
Yes, there's no, so I represent pretty much Southwest Louisiana. There's the closest one that's on that executive board is probably in Grand Isle, who's the mayor. The next closest is the mayor of Woodworth. So these are some pretty important people that we serve with that do a lot of bond approvals throughout the state. So, you don't have that even with Ms. McDaniel, no disrespect. She's only going to go and vote on whoever's going to be on the board for the next following year.
Well, unless the council has anything else to say, I think that we've got to find a happy medium in here. I think that if I'll say it this way, if you're going to get 4 votes tonight, you will get 4 votes Tuesday,
Right.
or Wednesday when it comes.
Right.
Okay.
And I was just hoping to get it done now. If not, then I'll come back, and then I'll have some other folks that's going to speak, and then we can go from there. I was hoping to prevent that and get it done now because we've pretty much talked about what's going to happen, what needs to be said. You know the facts now. Why wait?
Well, I think if the council, any other input, I'm going to suggest that if you got the 4 votes, it's going to be in Wednesday too. So
What is the date that's going to be on? Would you mind?
next Wednesday.
I think that's the
need
fifth.
some
Be the 3rd,
information
November
on this
3rd.
board. I need to be sent what the board
Well,
does.
in the meantime, it'll give us time to research, hear from the mayor on what one of
I'll
the.
tell you exactly what's on there.
To be honest with you, I didn't know this got put on at the last minute, so I need to research what is the standard for appointing someone.
So
or
if
moving
that's all
someone.
right with you, Mr. Delafosse?
That's fine.
We're gonna wait.
I'm just trying to make sure I would be in town. You said next week?
November 3rd.
Mr. Marks, it's November 5th. It's the 5th, next Wednesday.
That's why I said next Wednesday.
Yeah, but somebody said the 3rd, it's
Yeah,
not
that
the
was me.
3rd.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
November 5th.
So we'll leave everything as it is. Mayor, you good with that?
Yeah.
Until next-
But can we get some type of communication to understand what's the problem?
The administration. that
Yeah.
gives us-
Yeah, we'll tell you.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and I've done all the search. I'll tell you exactly because it has nothing to do with any type of person. The finance director, somebody that's part of the political appointment should be on that board. We've always done it that way.
I understand what you're saying there. I don't want to do something that's gonna, if we got an advantage with having the chairman, if there's an advantage to the city, I think we need to consider it. But in any case, we can discuss that.
I think you can tell from the discourse that there's some animosity and bias by the chair, and I have some concerns about that, especially when we're about to ask this commission for a lot of bond money that's going to do a lot of projects. I'm not saying that he would do anything wrong about that, but I
recuse myself, so that's not a problem.
I want somebody that's going to be accountable to this administration, this council. Not somebody who's part of the previous administration that was appointed in April when I got elected in May. And our finance director historically has been that person. I want to restore that because I think that's the most prudent way to do this.
Well, anybody got anything they want to add to that? I'll say we go till next Wednesday, but I just want us to keep in mind that if we set a precedent and we're gonna remove everybody that was from the last administration, we need to do that across the board.
It's not that, it's the bonds, because we are literally gonna go start getting our bonds now, and I want Ms. McDaniel there.
Yeah, the school board never had a problem with us approving bonds. We've never rejected a bond for the most part. But that's fine, I'll be there next Wednesday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Alvin Joseph.
Alvin Joseph, 2309 17th Street.
Yes.
I'm the president of the
NAACP?
of the local National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP, here in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And before I get into my talk, I want to explain to those of you who aren't fully aware as to what the role of the NAACP does in our community. The NAACP is a civil rights organization that works to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion for black people and all persons of color. We achieve this through advocacy, litigation, and grassroots activism, focusing on issues like voting rights, education, economic opportunity, and criminal justice reform. With that being said, I want to address the most recent events that we have heard on the news and social media involving the Lake Charles Police Department, the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office, and other racially motivated activities in local restaurants and nightclubs. I want to assure you that the NAACP is looking into this matter. We are also enlisting the assistance from some of our local pastors for guidance. It is with that understood, we understand that it is necessary to collect all information from all involved to make sure appropriate action is taken by holding those that need to be held accountable or held accountable. As Americans, we all deserve to be treated fairly and with respect. No one is above the law, but we all must obey the law. No one is asking for special favors. We're asking for equal justice. So once our review and discussion with all parties involved are satisfied, those that can be shared will be. I will call a press conference and share our findings by posting it on social media and other outlets. Now, I did say share it because some of the matters may be still under investigation or the parties involved may have legal representation. The NAACP was created for times like these. So thank you for your patience, for being here, but also for your time and your prayers. And if you want to become a member of the NAACP, just go to our Facebook page, Lake Charles NAACP, or the national website, NAACP.org. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
What was the letter in reference to?
It was in reference to one of the things, if you remember, on Nelson Road at the Waffle House, when the business owner said some things at that time. Also, he's looking at the incident that happened at in the Cowboys parking lot.
Okay.
And then also the other incident that happened with the police department, and I forget exactly where the area was. Our thing is, we want to make sure that I've spoken with the chief and my redress committee chair, Mr. Robbie Smith, and some things are, Dr. Robbie Smith, and and he did speak with the chief, and we know that we couldn't see the video because of some litigation that's going on. So, but that's what we addressing it, even though it happened in the past. And I think we may have had an incident in the last 30 days that we seen also. But
Is the chief left?
yeah, he's still.
Chief, I'm gonna ask on behalf of the council, is there any kind of way we can set up a meeting with the NAACP and sit down and I guess go over some of these concerns
Yes.
with the redress committee?
I'm not, absolutely not opposed. I would tell you, Mr. Marks, you approached me in the City Hall parking lot, and I initially said, absolutely, we can look at the video that was in question. But that video has since has been called to question legally into the courts, and we've been advised that it is, it's because it's under investigation and a possible civil suit, that we can't disclose it, but we can meet.
Yes, I like for the redress committee to get with you and meet, and so we can lay some ground rules, so the NAACP will know the ground rules for what the city police can and cannot release or do or give out to the community.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm free to meet as long as the administration is comfortable with me meeting, and the legal department be there as well.
I'll probably accompany you.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, we matter of fact, we talked about it at our last executive committee meeting, that to get in touch with you and see if you would come talk to the small executive committee so we can know what's going on, and now we can go let our members know exactly what, you told us.
I think it's a great idea for us
Yes.
to get together.
And I just want to be clear, Mr. Joseph, we can only be accountable for the city.
Correct.
The sheriff department and all that, those
Right.
other entaties, that's another.
Right.
Okay,
We just want to get it out
I got you.
since we on Sleepy TV tonight.
Okay. Mr. Milton Bellard.
Milton Bellard, 1857 Gershon Memorial Drive, Lake Charles, Louisiana. I have a simple request. Last Tuesday, SWLA opened a groundbreaking for a new facility. I'm asking for the council to give the mayor authority to negotiate a corporate agreement with SWLA like I did in the past for other ventures going on in the community.
A corporate endeavor agreement to do what?
For instance, we built a over $23 million facility, and pay them permanent fees, how we get sales tax breaks, how can you offer us, they can help us do a better job what we do in the community.
I know we've done this in the past with the permitting. We kind of work with them on permitting. Now, the other things.
But that's what I'm saying, the mayor, let's sit down and tell what the city can offer to us.
Oh, you want to sit down and talk with the mayor and then.
But I want we have authorize him to talk with us and get this.
I can't, I mean, the mayor.
No, but I'm saying, don't city council got to approve order.
I think the best way to do it, Mr. Bellard, is for you and the mayor to sit down. Once y'all iron out what it is you're asking of the city, then we'll come back to the council.
I think we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow.
We meet tomorrow, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Meeting adjourned.